we would appreciate that on the BCSI hotline, 979-693-1150, and on the AMB text line, Real Texas Banking. That's 979-693-1150. Now, we all had a busy weekend. We all are getting ready for the start of the season, and we begin the O hour. Yeah, we're going to just call it the O hour. The O. How are you doing, OB?
I'm doing well. Yeah, I kind of like that O hour thing.
Oh, my goodness, this is going to be a good hour.
The O-zone.
The O-zone. Hey, so, OB, I have a question out there that I'm going to throw out, and this one I'm going to give you some time to think about.
Okay.
Here's question one. I'm going to ask you two.
All right.
How often do you look at the rundown?
The rundown.
For the show.
Like
the show rundown. Do you ever look at it?
Yeah.
Okay. So you know the question that's coming then. Okay, good. So name a player that you were initially wrong about. It can be A&M related. It can be NFL, NBA. I don't care what it is. And it could be good or bad. You thought this guy was going to be a stud, or you thought this guy was going to be a dud. I want to hear who you thought it was, and then we'll just kind of talk about it with all the listeners and viewers out there. I'm sure you'll be super excited to know that we hit the 5,000 subscriber mark on YouTube.
Yeah. See, the wife got her family involved.
The entire family got us over the edge right there.
So you should be over 10.
Well, that's going to be the next plateau. And look, we got a lot of critiques about the musical choices.
Yeah.
I will tell you people, as in my family of listeners and viewers, we are going to work on a strategy to figure out the music. We're going to work on it. All right. I've heard the complaints. We've put Dalton to the task. He doesn't even know about it. This is the meeting we're having on air, but we're going to figure out a way to get the music spliced up at some point. I'm not promising it this month, but soon enough, OB, you'll get your music back that you miss so much.
Yeah, it's been disappointing. Yeah, but I mean, I understand that there's not much we can do about it, right?
Well, at this point, no. But we're going to work on some alternatives, see if we can figure it out. But it'll take a little time to do that. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here, and David Gardner's Jewelers, 911 University Drive, East in College Station. They've got Rolexes. They got it all out there. Make sure you go check them out. Signature cable bracelet from David Yerman. You name it, davidgardnersjewelers.com. We are here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. OB.
Yes, sir.
Our weekends are going to start getting extremely busy. This was maybe the last time, maybe this upcoming weekend, where we won't go 6-7 days.
If, and we don't know, but if Jimbo Fisher does not schedule a press conference on the weekend, if there's nothing open, I mean, if it's no media, I think I'll make a point to get out of town.
Okay.
On the weekend, because it'll be the last one. We'll be out of town a lot, but we'll be working. But it'll be the last one, except for the open week, that our weekends won't be spoken for quite a while, because you had the overlap with basketball,
right?
And so so if it's open, take advantage of it.
Yeah, take advantage of that. This past weekend, I did a lot of soccer, as I've told you in the past. We were all over the place. Yesterday, the Nuño kids won their 4 games, 22-1 combined. So we're very happy with that.
Did they score all the goals?
They didn't score all the goals, but they all did score yesterday.
Okay.
And in fact, my 13-year-old Cruz had a header for a goal. I'm sure that means a lot to you.
I know what a header. Yeah. I played soccer, actually.
No way.
I was a goalkeeper.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
The 7th grade, Teich Tigers in Dallas Elementary School.
There you go.
I was actually pretty good at it, believe it or not.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Hey, so before we say hi to everybody around the room, the last time I saw you was Friday. Jimbo had his presser. Anything jump out at you that caught your attention from that Friday presser?
Well, he said that Hez Jones was hurt.
Yeah, that caught my attention.
That he wasn't going to be maybe out for a long, extended period, but he is hurt. So there's a projected or a possible returning starter receiver. Of course, we think Caleb Chapman's coming, and he did say Caleb Chapman, is kind of his back. So, but at this time of the year, especially when you're not seeing the practices, I think what stands out is any injury, and any position change. So apparently, he also said Jake Matthews is back in action. Sure. So if his shoulder holds up, that's going to, be a big factor in the way that offensive line looks. So that was, that obviously got my attention. The fact that he's saying that, the quarterback competition that everybody's wondering about. He was saying that Sunday the scrimmage they had yesterday would might go a long way in deciding, but who would be the starter. But it would not necessarily be the determining factor, and that it doesn't necessarily mean he'll name a starter today.
Right.
He could name one within the week.
Yeah, I think he said that he'll make a decision relatively soon, and it could be within the next week. So we might find out by the time we get to the weekend who the starting quarterback is.
Yeah, in fact, I'd be surprised if we did not.
Yep.
He's going to do things on his time period, which he should. He's the coach, and he's the quarterback master and all those things. But the fact of the matter is, most coaches want their team to know who the quarterback is and start giving that guy all the reps, especially in game week.
So let me ask you this. Do you think the players already know? We just don't know? It's pretty much understood? Or do you think it still might be, it's trending in this direction, but we have not made a decision yet?
Here's what I believe. I believe the players know, but no determination has been made. And that what I'm saying is I highly doubt at this point that Fisher has made the announcement to the team, hey, so everyone knows it's official. But I would imagine by now the players know who they follow.
Sure.
And they get an idea who's looking better and, who just is the guy that is going to be leading them.
All right, let's go around the room and say hello to the gang. We'll go to the Fishbowl with Dalton in there. Dalton, how does it feel to know that the Texans own the Dallas Cowboys?
I mean, it's fine by me. It's the preseason. The real question of the day, Richard wants to know, if your kid scored 22 goals over the weekend.
No. Our teams yesterday.
Okay, that's fine. If your teams. Does that mean y'all just played Arsenal? I don't understand.
Oh, that's tough for Arsenal. And I'm sure all 9 of the listeners that watch Arsenal are, very disappointed here with what you just said there, Dalton. Let's go back to the Cowboys and the Texans. I was expecting some kind of analysis from the game. Did you watch?
I didn't know they played. It's preseason football, man.
You don't care.
I'd rather watch some action, some American Athletic Conference football. I tweeted that the other day. I did not watch Cowboys-Texans in the preseason. Especially with Dak not playing, Zeke not playing. You're not going to see anything.
No, you're not going to see anything anyway. And
Deshaun not playing.
Well,
who? Who's that? I look, and I'm kidding about. I fully expect the Texans to still be a disaster, regardless of their 2-0 start. But for a franchise that has had nothing good the last year and a half or so, I guess be happy about a preseason victory against your rival. That doesn't matter. I guess that's what they have going for them.
The biggest.
Will they hang a banner for that, or?
I think there's a banner for beating them in the very first game ever there at NRG Stadium, as they should.
I think the biggest questions involving the Texans is if they'll make Spencer Rattler or Sam Howell the number 1 pick in the draft next year.
Could you see that? Yeah.
Yeah. Could you?
Yeah. They got to figure out what they're going to do with Deshaun, but I guess the legal action has to happen.
Aren't they like a 4-12 team with Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, they were 4-12 last year, but I wouldn't put that all on his feet. I would say that when you get rid of everybody.
No. The point I'm making is you had a good quarterback.
And a terrible coach.
Well, that's true.
And no offensive line and no running game, and got rid of his number 1 weapon in DeAndre Hopkins.
Right. So what has really changed other than the coach is gone?
The coach is gone.
But other than that,
the guy who's buying the groceries is completely gone, and they have one who apparently might be good. No, I'm not saying the owner is still the same owner. It's still the McNair family, so they're still a disaster. So you're probably right. But Deshaun was pretty good. Last year he had good numbers, but I don't think he was that good, to be honest with you. The year prior, obviously, heading into that Kansas City game, 1 quarter, they had the Chiefs on the ropes in 1 quarter.
Are they going to be significantly better in the offensive line?
No.
Is the running game going to be significantly better?
They have to be better. It's like when Dalton was talking to us earlier about the Cowboys. They have to be better than they were last year.
Significantly better.
I would say a little better. No, they're going to be terrible this year. They're going to be the worst team in all of football. No doubt, if it's Deshaun or anybody else.
If you believe that they're the worst team, then they'll get the first pick, and it'll be probably Rattler or Howell.
Yeah, I can see that. Sure. Yeah.
So
I think they're just a joke, and we've probably spent more time on the Texans than we need to for the entire year. So my apologies to all the listeners.
Who I really feel bad for is John.
John Harris?
Yes.
He loves it. He just loves being around ball. He's a ball guy.
All right. Yeah, there's always the other team to look at.
There is.
I once watched at the Astrodome, I watched the Oilers, bad Oilers, and the Jets. went to see the Oilers and the Jets.
And the bad Jets, because they weren't very good very often.
It was like, it was like watching the static on the TV. I mean, there's nothing there. I don't know why the watching the fans.
So when did you go see the bad Oilers?
This
when they were moving, or
this would have been around 96.
Yeah, they were bad. They were bad. That's, I believe, the
95,
draft.
96?
No, they had already gotten Steve McNair. I'm trying to. That was when they announced that they were leaving, and they were really bad. And there was like 9 people at the Astrodome.
Yeah, I had a girlfriend from Houston. I decided to take her to a game, and I called up and said, "Hey, is it possible to get tickets?" And somebody actually laughed. So yeah, how many do you need?
We'll give you money to take these tickets.
They said, "How many do you need?" I said, "Just 2."
Hey, we've delayed going to Tori Esprovoa in the News and Social Center. She had a birthday weekend. Tori.
I did. Hi.
Hi, good morning to you.
Good
we got
morning.
a lot of texts about you. How was the shenanigans?
It was great. It was good. It was a good little weekend getaway. Went to Kemah, Galveston, went shopping at the Galleria, had some good food in Houston for Houston Food Week. It was a good weekend.
Houston Food Week is a thing? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Really?
It goes till, I don't know, beginning of September, but yeah, there's a whole list, and there's restaurants that do $49 a person. You get 3 courses. We went to Perry's Steakhouse and did that.
Restaurant week or something like that, right? Yeah.
Food week, restaurant week. Yeah.
Okay. Well, good times.
Yeah.
How far is the drive from Kemah to Kemah?
To Kemah from here?
Yeah.
It's 2 hours.
Okay.
Not even.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad.
Can you get us up to date with everything that happened in Aggie sports, please?
Yes, I can. A lot of stuff happened over the weekend. Texas A&M soccer were unable to scratch out a win against TCU yesterday evening with 2-1. Also, Texas A&M volleyball also fell short with a 3-1 after a hard-fought battle against number 10 Baylor in its season opener. And then less than a month after claiming her 800-meter Olympic gold with an American record, Aggie professional Thing Mo bettered her time by 0.17 seconds, winning the Prefontaine Classic Saturday afternoon at historic Hayward Field.
I think we could talk Thing Mo all the time on this show, and people would be okay with it. She is so much fun to just watch what she's doing. She's amazing. She keeps doing better and better. As for the Aggie soccer team, I watched that game. They're struggling to score goals. They gave up 2 fluky goals yesterday. One was an own goal, and one was just a weird redirect. TCU is a good team. There were a lot of Aggies in attendance for that game. Good environment. Looking forward to having them in town this weekend against Clemson.
Sounds like they need one of the Nuño girls out there.
I think those girls are more than qualified to do it. I think they're just young. It's a young team, and G knows that, but they'll be fine. It was to start on the road against 2 top 10 teams to start your season. I think that is very difficult. All right, so a lot of football to go the remainder of the show. As I mentioned, we do have a question out there that I would like for you guys to discuss with us. Name a player you were initially wrong about. You can do that on the A&B text line, 979-693-1150, or the BCSI Associates hotline. On the show, in the 9 o'clock hour, we got Pete Fiutak from College Football News. He's going to talk about the Alliance. We also are going to talk to Jordan Pugh. He'll be joining the show at 9:35. 10 o'clock, Billy Liucci for the entire hour. And Peter Burns is going to be joining us at 10:35. That'll be fun times here on the program. But when we do come back, 21 and 21, we've hit the final 5 of them. Who's number 5? We've got that next on the show.
This is the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
The Bellucci Hour is back. It is back at the tap every Monday and Thursday at 6 p.m. thanks to King Ranch Saddle Shop. Join Billy Liucci of TexAgs, TexAgs.com, TexAgs Radio, and the Lucci Cast, along with Zach Taylor, the Infomaniac, and Sports Director of Bryan Broadcasting. Monday, Thursday, 6 p.m. It's the Bellucci Hour, happy hour, and it's all thanks to King Ranch Saddle Shop. Let the Bellucci Hour get you ready for Aggie football 2021.
Hello, St. Joseph Eagles fans. Listen to St. Joseph Eagles football throughout the season on KEDC 88.5 FM. St. Joseph Eagles football is brought to you this season by these local businesses: Fast Signs, Strata Auto Repair, Kelly Burt Dozer, Reedfield Meats and Deli, Burnside Services Inc., and Prosperity Bank. Listen to St. Joseph Eagles football on KEDC 88.5 FM. Special thanks to all of our St. Joseph Eagles sponsors.
Everyone in the Brazos Valley has a unique story to tell. It's a community made up of survivors.
He's going to have a full recovery.
He's got such a good attitude about everything.
Hard workers.
Everyone kind of had a pivot and look to see how things were going to change.
Visionaries.
that really drives that economic engine for growth within the Brazos Valley.
And just good people.
There are inspiring stories everywhere you look, and your local news team is dedicated to bring you more on KRHD News, connecting the Brazos Valley.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thank you to all our listeners and our sponsors for backing the Aggies all year long. Cooper's Old Time Pit Barbecue, Swarteman Flooring, Prosperity Bank, Hargrove Insurance, Park at Traditions Exceptional Senior Living, Cherry Rufino Broker Realtor with Coldwell Banker Apex Realtors, and Amarillo National Bank. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Hey, Joe, I thought you were retired.
Living on a fixed income is tough. So here I am, an essential worker.
I know. I mean, food prices are going up every day. Thank goodness for benefitscheckup.org.
Benefits what?
benefitscheckup.org. It's a free website where people over 60 can find help to pay for food, medicine, even utilities. I got $1,200 a year in benefits. Maybe it can help you.
Start your sports day with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. Powered by WC Tractor. Weekday mornings 5 to 8 on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Or just tell your smart speaker to play Zone 1150. WC Tractor is your local award-winning Kubota and New Holland dealer. Call them with your questions at 1-888-8-TRACTOR. That's 1-888-8-TRACTOR. Check them out online at WCTractor.com. Rise and shine weekday mornings 5 to 8 with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin from ESPN Radio. Powered by WC Tractor here on the Zone.
TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is Monday morning, getting closer to the Ags starting their season next weekend. Cannot wait for that. OB here for the Go Hour as we do our 21 in 21 presented by Factory Builder Stores, celebrating over 30 years as the largest contract distributor in Texas. Factory Builder Stores can service builders and general public with locations throughout Texas, including right here in College Station on Old Welborn Road and Rock Prairie, just on the west side of the railroad tracks. Go see our friends Jason and John. They're going to take very good care of you and all of your appliance needs. And number 5, as we get to the final 5, is the best tight end in all of college football, in my opinion. That is Jalen Weidermeyer. OB, this was a no-brainer. Obviously, we knew he'd be in the top 5. Just a guy who's got the size, the speed, and been dependable ever since he was a freshman.
Yeah, I mean, Jalen Weidermeyer, I agree with you. I think he's the best tight end in the country. There are those that would rate Charlie Kohler from Iowa State ahead of him, and Charlie Kohler is really good. But I go back to the game, I think it was against Mississippi State his freshman year, and he catches like a 10-yard pass and then turns it upfield, runs through tackles, and then runs jukes somebody and runs away from everybody for like a 52-yard touchdown. Charlie Kohler can't do that. He does things that he shouldn't be able to do at his size, and yet he's not a Kyle Pitts tight end, and I mean that in a complimentary way, because Kyle Pitts was a big guy that they called a tight end that they put out wide.
Right.
Jalen Weidermeyer is a true tight end in every sense, in that he's a big guy. He can make a big catch. Remember the one-handed catch he made against Florida on a big third down?
Sure.
Caught it with one hand. He's a guy that makes a lot of touchdowns. I think he's already scored 12 touchdowns in his career, if I'm not mistaken. And but he can also really block. As a freshman, that was the knock on him. Well, he's really making these catches and doing great things as a receiver, but he needs to work on his blocking. Well, he worked on his blocking, and if you'll remember and who'll ever forget the Devon A-Chain run for 76 yards against Florida. Well, a big part of that was Jalen Weidemeyer just mauling the guy he's blocking. So you're seeing a guy that's a big threat as a receiver, the stereotypical mismatch, too big for a safety, too fast for a linebacker, but is also a guy that can just maul you at the line of scrimmage with his, 6'5", 260?
Look at those numbers there. 78 receptions for 953 yards, averaging 12.2 yards per reception, 41.4 per game. He scored 12 touchdowns. This is a guy who is a beast of a human being, 6'5".
What is he, about 260? I don't have his the roster in front of me.
I have 255 in front of me on his NFL draft profile.
255.
Yeah, 6'5", 255. That is ridiculously big.
Yeah, again, and he's big enough to really help out on blocking even a defensive end. You don't want that guy going against a top line defensive end one-on-one very often. But
look at that. Look how he skies.
Yeah. He's so athletic. He scored so many touchdowns in his career again, and some of them are just really spectacular. I think he needs to work on that dance, his touchdown dance.
I posted one that he did at practice. I like it.
I know. I'm trying to find something to knock him on.
There isn't. You can't. Like you said it the other day. He's a first-round talent. If he'll be a first-rounder, we'll see.
We'll see.
He's got the size, the speed. And we always talk about mismatches, OB, from, I think, a small perspective. What I mean by that, like an Anais Smith mismatch, right? Yeah. Because he's small, fast. You can put him out wide. You can put him in the backfield. That's a mismatch. The kind of mismatch he can run like a wide receiver.
He really can.
He can block like a lineman. And he can jump like freaking an NBA player. The guy's got all the intangibles you want. Good soldier for the team, does everything you ask of him to do, and has improved in both years under Jimbo's system. I want to see where he goes.
Yeah, and you see, you talk about his speed, and I don't know how fast he is, but you know what he can do is how many times you see the tight end catch the ball, and they turn upfield to get ahead of steam, and they look good, and somebody comes over and takes them out,
yep.
And it's a good play. I mean, it's a good play. But Jalen, again, like he did as a freshman, he can catch it. He can turn it upfield, and then he can dodge. I mean, he's agile enough to dodge tacklers coming over to try to – he doesn't have to just try to barrel over them and say, okay, I got an extra couple of yards. He can sidestep a guy. He can put a move on him. And you know what? One other thing is he's very patient on his routes. I go back – I think it was South Carolina last year, just before the half. I think it was. And – he lines up on the right side of the field, of the formation. He looks like he's blocking. Everything's going right, and Kellen, fakes the handoff, and then he looks one way, and all the trash is going on,
right.
And then suddenly you wonder what's going to happen and Kellen turns and he throws back to the left, and Jalen is wide open, and he had faked his block, and then he looked like he was going to hit a linebacker and goes by him, and then all of a sudden, there he is wide open. And so he's very precise with his routes, too. I think that's an underappreciated part of his game.
The best wide receivers are always mentioned the best tight ends are always mentioned as a threat, as a wide receiver. You don't know the difference when he's out on the field, right? It's not a tight end who can catch. It is a wide receiver who can play tight end because of his size, speed, and ability on the line as well. And that's the difference between he and others in college football.
Yeah, I think he's a lot like Sternberger. I don't think you're going to see him split out wide, like they did, like Florida with Kyle Pitts. I mean, in some formations, but I think 90% of the time, if not more, he's going to be next to the tackle. But he has the speed to get down the field. Again, he doesn't have to be a guy that you're just going to drag or, across the field and hit him across the field. He can do some things to stretch the field, but I think what really sets him apart is that he is the old-time tight end that there's not as many of anymore.
Right.
Because, first of all, so many teams don't play with a tight end, and then that those that do. I can remember Oklahoma a decade ago had Jermaine Gresham. And then Kyle Pitts is a guy brought up. There's a lot of the tight ends now are just, big guys that they'll put tight sometimes, but for the most part, they like to split them, call him a tight end and move him around, and he's a big wide receiver. And I think Jalen is a guy that is going to outrun you down the seam and make big plays, is going to get lost in the trash and catch it and then take it upfield. I don't know that he's a guy I'm ever going to see. Maybe split wide and this should try to outrun you deep. But I think that he's a guy that, you have to account for on every play. And if you don't, he's just a big play waiting to happen. And, of course, like we said, he can be really well covered and make a one-handed catch on third down. He's a really clutch player. There's nothing bad that you can say about him.
He was a security blanket for Kellen, and he will certainly be a security blanket for whatever young quarterback is the starter for the Aggies this year, because he is somebody that you can go down to 3 yards and out or whatever it may be, middle of the field. He's always going to find his seams to get open. And when you have a young quarterback who is going to be learning the SEC by fire this year, really learning it, having those weapons at his disposal and a tight end that can do it all is such an advantage for a young quarterback.
I think about his reflexes too. And I'm thinking about the play at Auburn, where the guy looks like he's going to intercept the ball.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And deflects up. Well, a lot of guys, the trajectory of the ball just got interrupted.
Yeah.
So you're not going to stay with it. That ball got deflected. He stayed with it, catches it, touchdown. I mean, so we've talked about him catching a short pass against Mississippi State as a freshman, turning it up, breaking tackles, sidestepping guys, touchdown. We talk about him mauling a guy against Florida State. We talk about him making a one-handed catch against Florida. We talk about him then Auburn. The ball is deflected. He stays with it, catch. Again, what are you looking for this guy to do that he doesn't do?
Yeah, he does it all. And
his dad was still a better high school football player than he was.
Is that right?
Vincent.
Yeah?
Great running back at Dickinson.
I forget about the Dickinson angle. That is correct. All right, we'll continue on. We do need to get into the topic of the day here in the next segment. Name a player you were initially wrong about. A lot of comments coming in. We'll talk about that. Also, I'm just getting sick is the wrong word. I'm just ready for real football to talk about. Not like these topics and like top 3 this, top 3 that. Hey, who's going to – I just want to talk some actual football, who looks good, who doesn't, and that's coming up real soon. But right now, a moment for our friends at the Association of Former Students. Porter Gardner there doing a great job. He is the president and CEO, and he's got a great vision, and he always has. And as the association, they are the oldest organization serving A&M in support of that Aggie network. And I lost touch with them after college sometime, 5-10 years afterwards, and I just forgot to renew and, got new cards. I didn't have the Century Club sticker. I just didn't think about it. And then, you know what? I was wrong, guys, because giving back to Aggies is such a rewarding feeling, especially when it's the Association of Former Students that are doing it. They're giving it to all these student organizations, the muster committee, the Aggie Band for Travel. All those dollars go a long, long way, and it's not expensive at all. $100 a year, about $9 a month. You're going to get that decal, the plaque, Texas Aggie Magazine, plus you're continuing in the oldest, most inspiring tradition of Aggies helping other Aggies. I want to encourage you to give to the association. To learn more about their impact of the association or get involved, make a gift, visit aggienetwork.com/giving.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. Stage Center Theater wraps up its season with Pure as the Driven Snow. Performances run through this weekend. Purchase tickets online at stagecenter.net. Hundreds of books geared to young readers will be on sale this Saturday at the Clara B. Mounts Library in downtown Bryan. Doors open to members of the Bryan College Station Friends of the Library at 9 a.m. and to the general public at 10 a.m. The Arts Council of Brazos Valley is hosting Celebrate the Arts on Wednesday, September 1st, starting at 6 p.m. at the Stella Hotel. Purchase your tickets online at acbv.org. Registration is now open for nonprofits wanting to participate in this year's Brazos Valley Gives event. Register at brazosvalleygives.org. Catch Cedric Golden of the Austin American Statesman Tuesdays at 12:05 on the Louis Bellina Show to talk Longhorns, Big 12, and so much more. The gang is back together lunchtime, weekdays from 11 to 2. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
We think it's time for a laugh. Bryan Broadcasting and the Nikki Peterson Talent Network present Good Clean Fun, a comedy night with Carrie Pomeroli.
So you guys, yes, I am a member of the Mommy Mafia. I have 2 kids. I have a 4-year-old and a good one.
Hollywood's favorite clean comedian is live in College Station, Friday, September 3rd at 7 p.m. at Skybreak Church.
I was in the Zumba class, and there's this teacher, right? And she's all cute and sassy, and she's like, shake what your mama gave you. I'm in the back are going, my mama gave me sciatica and allergies.
Bring your friends, bring a date, bring anyone who's ready for a good time.
You guys, who's happy just to be out of the house? Really? Right?
Good Clean Fun, a comedy night with Carrie Pomeroli, September 3rd, presented by Nikki Peterson Talent Network. Be discovered. Thanks in part to our sponsors, Strata Auto Repair, Mark's Manny's Appliance Repair and Cleaning Service, Dirt Road Rustics Furniture and Home Decor, Buff City Soap, Soap Makery, and Long Way Home Adoptables. Tickets, VIP, and group packages available at BryanBroadcasting.com.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Bryan Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley.
Brazos Life, the annual manual.
Welcome home, Brazos Valley.
Brazos Family. Brazos Wellness.
Brazos Valley Bride.
Peace, Brazos Christian Life.
With the combined power of 7 magazine titles, 11 radio stations, and digital solutions, Bryan Broadcasting Publications can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
The best is yet to come in College Station.
Chase Lane is in for a touchdown! Yes!
Head coach Jimbo Fisher and the Aggies are ready to rise to the top of the SEC.
Swing to Anias, he's in the end zone, a 6-yard reception.
Join us Saturday, September 4th. It's the season opener versus the Kent State Golden Flashes on your home for Aggies football, the Texas A&M Sports Network.
Listen to Aggie football on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Online at radioaggieland.com. Or tell your smart speaker to play Zone 1150.
TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Talking about quarterbacks here for a moment. I think we should hear at some point this week who the starting quarterback is. But let's think about this, especially against Kent State. Whoever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think most of us believe it's going to be Haynes, but we'll see when that is officially announced. The other one is going to play quite a bit in this Kent State game, don't you think? You'll see, or do you think because they are young quarterbacks, if it is going the direction we all think it'll be, I think it'll be a hefty victory for A&M. Does the starting quarterback play 3 quarters? Does he play a half? How much do you think the balance will be with both of these guys come Kent State?
Well, I would think that if you win that game handily, like I think they will, even though I do think it'll be a little bit more competitive than most think, because I think Kent State's actually pretty decent, but not decent enough to win the game.
Right.
I would think 3 quarters, and then if you're in control, you bring in your other guy. Now, I'll say this. I am, and a lot of people, in fact, most people disagree with this. I'm a proponent of bringing your backup in and having play a series or 2
early
when it matters.
Sure.
Because you never know, and you hope it never happens, but if your guys get hurt and you have to bring in a backup. I always like the idea of I've had a guy who's actually played when it matters. But, coaches typically don't want to do that, and it can interrupt some momentum.
I think in the big picture, that is ideal, right? But the flow of a quarterback, let's just, for instance, say Haynes goes 3 of the first series, then they take him out for a couple of series, then he comes back in. There is a flow of playing for a significant time, getting that gel. But I agree with you that you want to see whoever the other guy is get the first team offensive line and take on the other team's first team.
I'm saying if I was up like 14-0, maybe I would take. Now some people say no, I'll go for the throat. I get that, but maybe I bring in my guy when I'm up, say 14-0 or whatever, and the game still matters, and maybe he can go get me a score too. But just to, and the reason how come I say that is again because what if, God forbid, whoever that starter is gets hurt, misses a game, gets COVID, whatever, and you don't have him for a game. I just like the idea of replacing with a guy who's actually played when it matters. That's all I'm saying.
when you mention COVID, I don't know why I feel, and maybe I'm being naive here, I don't feel the pressure of losing games or time as I did last year, even though we're seeing this rise in these numbers. And I talked to somebody the other day that he says even here in College Station, it's bad.
We just saw our governor get COVID, and 4 days later he tested negative. So I think what you're seeing is that
we have a better.
Yes, we're dealing with it better, and I guess they say some people are against the vaccine, some people are for it, whatever. But I guess they're saying that if you've had the vaccine and you get it, you're not as likely to be, as affected. So,
right.
I agree with you. It's probably not as it's not something that I think you worry about as much as you did last year, but it still could be an issue.
Take a look at this Darren Ravel tweet. A big bet on the Aggies at BetMGM, a $4,000 wager that would win $160,000 if A&M wins the national title. If only I had $4,000 to put on Texas A&M.
If I had $100.
Now $100, that's what's up.
Yeah,
I could play that game.
Yeah.
You want to let me borrow $100?
I think you probably make more money than me.
Well,
so no, maybe you should borrow me $100.
maybe we should let you. Hey, let's go to Jimbo, who did talk about the starting quarterback situation here on Friday as we get closer and closer to that starter being announced.
We're going back and forth. The eights get your shot with the ones that in practices and scrimmages and things we go. And I've been pleased with both guys. Both guys have made a lot of progress, taking care of the ball for the most part pretty well. Occasionally, they'll throw a pick every now and then, but I want them to. You can sit there and say don't throw picks, and then you don't make any plays. You got to take chances. You got to throw balls, and you got to find out what you can and cannot do. And I've been very pleased with that. There's been a lot more big plays than there has any of those situations. So decision making is getting better, controlling the game, understanding how to communicate on the field with the players and the demeanor and the body language and all that stuff. That's just as important to me as the other parts of it. And you start getting those things when you start getting comfortable in what you're doing. So that means in knowledge of what's happening. So they feel very comfortable out there. But I think both guys are making progress. We'll make a decision, here. We'll have to make one here relatively soon. But I've been very pleased with both guys, and I think both guys have had a good camp.
I got a couple observations from that cut alone. First off, from my perspective of dealing with NFL coaches the last 15 years of my life, it's so nice to hear somebody who actually speaks. Jimbo is the elite of the elite, and he doesn't have to speak, right? They can give you coach speak. He actually answers questions about players. I'm not used to that. I'm used to a world where, I'll use Bill O'Brien as an example, you ask about any player, and it's the same exact answer about each player. He's a good teammate. He's out there working hard. We're just happy to have him as a member of the Texans. That's what he would tell us about everybody. Jimbo will actually tell you things about what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. The other thing that caught my eye that I love to hear from a coach, and you've been around him more, so it's not as noticeable to you perhaps. He wants them to make these mistakes, because if you are trying to throw a ball somewhere, you're trying to make a play, and yes, sometimes you can't be perfect. Now, you don't want to be Brett Favre and throw too many interceptions, but Brett Favre's great because he took chances, and that's what he wants from his quarterbacks. I like hearing that.
Well, I think what Jimbo wants is a guy that, trusts himself. But I think the first thing he's looking for, did you go the right place with the ball, right? As you went through your reads, did you go? Now, if something happened when it got intercepted, okay, I can live with that if you went to the right place. But he's saying, and it's true, spoken like a quarterback, don't be afraid to make a mistake, because if you're afraid to make a mistake, you're also probably not going to make the big plays, and they want to make big plays. And that was a big knock on A&M. Really, the only knock on A&M last year was, they didn't make a lot of big plays. Well, they want to they want to do that. So, the teams that throw deep usually throw the most interceptions too.
Right. Was Kellen just playing it safe for the most part, or he was so methodical going through his progressions and his reads that he didn't take as many chances?
I think it was both. I think that I believe, and he might disagree with that if he was here to defend himself, I believe that Kellen was apprehensive about throwing deep. I think he was more comfortable throwing the mid-range ball. But he could throw it deep like he showed against Florida. But, especially his junior year, the knock on him was he didn't throw a deep balls. Some of them, they weren't his fault. One time he had the kid from Frankston, the big tall kid, makes the acrobatic catches. Kendrick. Man, I've already forgotten his last name. Rogers.
Kendrick Rogers, okay.
He had him open against Arkansas. It was just a little long. I mean, he probably still should have caught it. One time against Auburn, he has Cabote, I think it was, wide open on a wheel route, and he overthrew. Now, part of that was Cabote slowed up. We all remember the Clemson game, second play of the game. Looks like a touchdown to Cam Buckley, and he overthrows him. So I think somewhere in all that, it got to where he was apprehensive about throwing the deep ball, I believe. And one of the reasons I say that is we've talked about this before in the Orange Bowl, had Anias and Damon Demas on the field. Damon has his guy, the safety, beat bad on a deep post. You know, you throw it, it's a touchdown. But he throws to Anias, and Anias turns it into a 50. He throws it to the sideline, and you can't fault him for that. Plus, he's probably more, as a quarterback, comfortable with Anias.
Absolutely.
And Anias turns into a 50-yard gain inside the 10. So I just think that he was more comfortable throwing that. Some quarterbacks are more comfortable throwing the deep ball than the mid-range ball.
I like a calculated gamble, right? Risk versus reward. If you're, going to throw inside your 20 and it's, the idea could cost you the game, then no, I don't want you to take a risk there. But there are times in a game where I want you to take risk. Middle of the field, it is 1st and 15, and everyone's expecting you to do some kind of draw play, and you go deep and you just try to make some magic happen. Though I'm okay, risk versus reward, depending on the situation.
I think you need to throw deep, even 2 or 3 times a game, just to make them aware that you will.
Right.
Now, if I end up getting a guy that can really beat you deep, and I complete one of those deep balls, well, now I'm in the defense's head, and they've got to respect it, and that opens up so much more. We all know how that does. And I think A&M's a team that's going to be able to throw deep. So I understand what Jimbo's saying. Now, he's not just talking about a deep ball, but I'm sure that's a big part of it.
Sometimes it's trying to fit it in the middle of the field, right by the linebacker. It's a split-second decision. He's talking about taking those chances to make the right play. Sometimes it's okay.
and that's how you learn, too.
Absolutely. All right, we'll continue with this dialogue, plus finally get into name a player you were initially wrong about. I want to hear OB's thoughts on that. Plus, we got a bunch of your text messages and tweets and messages on the TexAgs forum on the premium side. So we'll get into all that and much, much more. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
This is Aggieland's home for sports. The Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
AggielandBigDeals.com. Shop local, buy local, save big. I'm struggling, can't pay full price. How about Aggieland Big Deals? Yeah, that's right. I'll be shopping local and saving big with discounts up to 30% on food, clothes, and car repair, or even entertainment and personal care. Is it really gonna be convenient though? Just download the app right on your phone. Oh man, that's slick. Now I'm all in. Those digital certificates are fun to spend. Plus I can print and send gifts along at AggielandBigDeals.com.
VeraBank is open and we are excited to serve you in College Station. Hi, this is Erica Archer, Treasury Management Officer at VeraBank, and I specialize in helping businesses run their day-to-day operations more efficiently, saving you valuable time. Our team's job is to make yours easier. So give us a call or come by and see us off of Highway 6. At VeraBank, you have a team of genuine bankers on your side, and you can bank on it.
Visit VeraBank.com today. That's VERA Bank.com. VeraBank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our sponsors for backing the Aggies all season long. First Financial Bank, Bryan College Station Toyota, Rudy's Barbecue, Schulte Roofing, The Sleep Station, and Pioneer Steel. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
What if one day you went to your secret hiding place? You know, that spot that only you know about? And instead of what you came for, you found something a little different? What if instead of your private stash, you found a simple phone number, 1-800-662-HELP? What would you do? Would you stop and give it some thought? Would you make the call? The truth is, all drug use comes with risk. Before those risks become real, before drugs turn your life upside down, before drugs take their toll on you and your family, know that there is help. You can quit. If you or someone you love is struggling with drug use or prescription drug misuse, call 1-800-662-HELP for 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, or go to samhsa.gov/thereishelp.
On Sports Talk, Chip visits with Jeff Bergman, the voice of everyone's favorite cartoon characters.
Well, I have to say the voice of the rabbit dog.
Nice. I say foghorn leghorn. No, I say nice boy, but about as sharp as a sack of wet mice.
Sports Talk, the voice of reason. Weekdays from 4 to 6 on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
Thanks, Chip.
Yes, I best believe we have the best backfield in the country. Cause it's like we all interchangeable. We all can do everything. Like we can play fullback. We can all go at that wide out. Like even if y'all come to our practices, like we all play everything. Like we all switch at different things. Like you have me at receiver, or I'll probably be in the backfield with Anais or Isaiah. We all can do everything. So it's like I don't think nobody else can do that.
The best backfield in the country. A-Chain breaking it all down on Friday when we were at the A&M media availability. It is TexAgs Radio, presented by David Garner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. And I tend to agree that they have the best backfield, the most versatile backfield in the entire country. We'll see how this year plays out. I'm a big believer that they have different types of weapons back there, OB.
Well, they do. Now, backfield typically includes the quarterback.
So we have to see what Haynes.
Right. So, and I have to admit, I don't know the whole backfields for everybody. You know, I know, like for instance, Alabama has good backs, probably not as accomplished yet as what A&M has, but they also don't know what they're going to do at quarterback.
Right.
Georgia, Zamir White's really good. I don't know who their backup is, but I'm pretty sure he was highly recruited, and they do have a quarterback that's done something. And then, nationally, even Iowa State with Breece Hall and Brock Purdy. I'll say this. I'll take my A&M running backs, and if you say somebody else is better, I'll say fine, but okay, but I'm sticking with who I got because I have so much power and speed, and I don't even know what LJ Johnson brings you yet.
Yeah, I'm excited about him. We have a lot of texts and tweets to get into. We want to do that, but before we go to Tori, is there a player that you were initially wrong about?
Oh, yeah. There's the ones that really stand out in my mind from I thought he was better than he was is Derek Tucker. He had a game against Florida, and or maybe his Ole Miss, maybe both. And I remember writing, here's your next great star safety. And I was just blown away at how good this guy was as a freshman. And then it started against Clemson. He, the one pass I think that Trevor Lawrence threw in that game, he was coming over to help in double coverage and just completely whiffed. And then later on a short pass on 3rd and long, all you have to do is make a tackle and they're kicking a field goal. You win the game probably. And it looked like he was just diving into the ground. And I said, all of a sudden, like, who is this guy? It's not even the same guy. And of course, he didn't even finish here. So Derek Tucker is the guy that I really thought was going to be good. That wasn't. And then the guy that I was not, that I grossly underrated was Patrick Fitzgerald, the quarterback at Mississippi State. That I'm like, they lost Dak Prescott. I'm like, oh, they got some guy named Patrick Fitzgerald.
Yeah, his name was actually even Nick.
Nick Fitzgerald. See, Patrick Fitzgerald, somebody else. Isn't that the coach at Northwestern? Correct. See, that's how bad I was. Even all this time, I'm still not even getting it. Thank you, Dalton. Nick Fitzgerald. And then he comes in, and he is just a – can I say bastard on the air?
I don't know.
He is just a bad man especially against A&M.
Yeah.
So Nick Fitzgerald and Pat Fitzgerald. Underrated Pat Fitzgerald, too.
Let me give you a couple on my end. And, Tori, we're coming to you, I promise. Speedy Noel. I expected greatness from Speedy. And I'm going to tell you Kyler Murray in multiple ways. A, I thought he would be great for Texas A&M. And then I thought he'd be terrible for Oklahoma. I didn't think he would be and in the NFL, I didn't think he'd have the success that we've seen him have initially. Yeah. So I've been wrong on Kyler all along.
I never doubted Kyler.
Never.
I think A&M just
messed that one up.
They blew it as bad as you can blow anything. I mean, it was dealing with it was very Biden-esque the way they dealt with the way they botched Kyler Murray.
Well, but I didn't expect him to be a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback and stud in the NFL. I just didn't expect that.
I used to say that Johnny Manziel was a once-in-a-lifetime quarterback if you lived to be 5 years old.
I like that.
Because Kyler Murray was the same guy, just without the off-field issues, but on the field.
Different issues, but there were issues there. Let's go to Tori. Tori, you got some text messages from the A&B text line.
I have Sutton College Station says, Chase Lane. I thought Chase was being recruited to improve the chances to get Grant Gunnell in 2019. Why was I ever wrong? His leadership on and off the field is first class, and he will have a very productive 2021 campaign.
Okay, what else you got?
I got Chase in Houston saying, when I thought someone had the wide receiver position humming in recruiting, haha, what a thought. I thought he was crazy for starting some kid named Josh Reynolds on game 1 of 2014 against South Carolina. Boy, did that turn out to be a dud of a thought by me, because he is now arguably one of the top 5 at that position in school history.
Very good there, Tori. One other one that I forgot, Ricky Seals-Jones. He was a nice player. I expected him to be all-world here at A&M.
Just used wrong, and part of it was his own fault because he didn't want to be a tight end. They didn't have a tight end. I guess that's why he didn't want to be, but that's where he needed to be.
OB, it was fun. Thank you very much, brother. Yeah, that is the end of the Go Hour. In the 9 o'clock hour, Pete Fiutak, College Football News, is going to be joining the show. We'll talk a little bit about the alliance with him. We also have Jordan Pugh joining us at 9:35. All that and your calls and text messages. It's TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
You're listening to Aggieland's Home for Sports. 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. I came out in the 11th grade. Nobody was embracing you. The kids were cruel. It was very difficult to be gay. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma. The hard part was determining that I was going to do it, but I definitely didn't do it alone.
At age 30, with the help of her mentor, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
I have a mentor, Maria. She convinced me to continue my education and to finish what I started to get my diploma. Just never judges. She's a true role model. If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, go get it. You can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Get connected and be in the know with the Zone. Follow us on Twitter at Zone1150. Like us on Facebook, Zone1150. Subscribe to our daily newsletter at thezone1150.com. This is KCNE College Station Bryan.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on the Zone. A College Station city councilman supports the idea of visitors contributing more to paying the cost of providing city services. One idea presented to Bob Brick during his visit on WTAW's The Infomaniacs was raising the sales tax rate.
Yes, I would support a sales tax increase by some measure. Certainly that has to come from the state.
Brick noted an increase in College Station sales tax collections during the pandemic.
Surprisingly, no one expected that, and that helped us assembling the current budget for this next year.
Yeah. Sales taxes generate 36% of the revenue for the city of College Station, which is the same percentage as property taxes. Blaine College trustees are told at their last meeting to anticipate fall enrollment going down compared to last year.
The numbers right now as of today are about 21% down from census date last year. and we're about 11% down from this date and time a year ago.
Chancellor Mary Hensley says it's a topic that's constantly talked about among her peers at 50 community colleges around the state. Last year, Blenn's budget was built on an enrollment decrease of 20%. A 66-year-old Bryan man convicted 4 times of drunk driving was arrested Saturday night for DWI, aggravated assault of a family member with a deadly weapon, making a terroristic threat to a family member, 2 weapons charges, and evading and resisting arrest. 4 Bryan police officers responded to a disturbance Saturday night in a neighborhood east of Kemp Elementary School. Nathaniel Phillips was arrested following a chase that ended when his SUV struck a tree near Neal Elementary School. 2 Bryan men were seen on surveillance video Friday night taking $5,000 of copper from a BTU power plant. 38-year-old Belden Sprouse Jr. and 22-year-old Andrew Hellner were charged with burglary and the theft. For more news, go to WTAW.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
If you have a debit card, you're used to spending money. But what if your card actually ended up earning you money? That's not exactly normal, but that's what you can get at A&B. It's called Kasasa Cashback Checking. Don't mind the weird name. What you need to know is that it's a free account with cash rewards. Use your debit card for everyday purchases, and we'll pay you cash back every month. If that doesn't sound like normal banking, well, guess what? We're not a normal bank. So contact A&B today and ask for Kasasa or visit ANB.com. Equal housing lender, member FDIC.
Hey, it's David Nuño. Texas known for football, barbecue, and hot summer temperatures. And typically, the hotter the weather, the higher your electricity bill. But with some help from Energy Ogre, a Texas technology company, you can lower your bill by up to 40%. In fact, we signed up 2 years ago, and they saved my family 35%. Energy Ogre will find you the cheapest electricity plan in your area. Manage all future contracts, saving you time and money. Go to EnergyOgre.com and enter code HOWDY for a free month of service. That's EnergyOgre.com to start saving today.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on the Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. Less than 2 weeks until Fighting Texas Aggie football kicks off the season against Kent State, and there are several questions still for the 6th-ranked Aggs, most notably at offensive line. I asked Coach Jimbo Fisher how the center position is shaking out.
You have Luke right there who's doing things. He's been we how he does practice and things, we're moving him around. But I think Bryce Foster's been an outstanding, and Wyckoff has done a really good. Both, I know they're freshmen, but Wyckoff did it in the spring, and Foster's been natural. Those guys have done a great job making calls, and our defense is as multiple as anybody.
Now, that may seem like a lot of contenders for just one position, but Fisher says that's by design.
You learn from your past. One time in camp, I went through 6 centers. We went through 6 centers in camp, and the guy who snapped ended up being, he finally got his first rep on the Wednesday before we played on a Saturday. That was the first time he got a rep one year. That team also played in the SEC championship, believe it or not. So I mean, it happens. So I've learned that you don't have enough centers.
Now, for more insight into fall camp, tune into the Bellucci Hour tonight from 6 to 7 right here on The Zone. 9th-ranked Aggie women's soccer put together a late rally, but in the end it just wasn't enough as they fell to number 8 TCU last night 2-1. Taylor Pounds found the net for the Aggs, who fall to 0-2-0 to start the year. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thank you to all our listeners and our sponsors for backing the Aggies all year long. Cooper's Old Time Pit Barbecue, Swarteman Flooring, Prosperity Bank, Hargrove Insurance, Park at Traditions Exceptional Senior Living, Cherry Rufino Broker Realtor with Coldwell Banker Apex Realtors, and Amarillo National Bank. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
The music cannot be worse. Goodness gracious. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Thanks to YouTube. We're going to work on an alternative, guys. We appreciate that. They're doing great work behind the scenes to try to figure out what we're going to do to separate the music. Goodness gracious. But we are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Our next guest, I used to have him on the show a long time ago when I was at Sporting News Radio, and Yahoo Sports Radio. I know our good buddy John Harris worked with him before at College Football News. Pete Fiutak joining the show. Pete, thanks so much for joining us here on the BCSI hotline. How are you, sir?
Well, what's wrong with that? That was a banger coming in. I thought it wasn't too bad. It was all right.
It was good, man. It was good. So, hey, I read your column over the weekend, ACC, Big Ten, Pac-12 Alliance, and what it means for college football on your daily updates. Just let's start there. Just what do you think this means moving forward? What do you think about this alliance if it does come to fruition the way it's being explained?
I don't think we're going to be talking about saying, okay, we're going to have a massive 40-team super conference that's going to just become a one big thing at this point. That's pushing it a little bit too far. Really, all this seems to do are two things. One of them is really easy. One of them is really complicated. The easy part about this is it seems like they're saying, let's just kind of slow the roll a little bit when it comes to the college football playoff expansion. Because before it seemed like a done deal, this was going to fly through. Everyone was kind of on board with this whole 12-team idea. But now that the SEC is going to expand with Texas and Oklahoma, almost 99.9% sure this is going to be finalized. The last thing the Big Ten, ACC, and definitely the Pac-12 want is for a college football playoff with 6 SEC teams. Now, look at the preseason rankings and take that even further. If you count Oklahoma in that, if you count Texas A&M in that, if you count Georgia and even pushing it further to Texas and LSU and Florida, there's going to be a lot of SEC teams in the college football playoff, and these other conferences aren't going to want that. So they're going to want to push against that in some way. The other thing that they're going to want to be against in a little bit way, shape, or form are the media deals that are coming in. And that's the more complex part about this because the SEC obviously is going to want to expand and are promising all these millions and gajillions of dollars to Texas and Oklahoma. They're going to want to come up with a plan too that kind of combats ESPN and all that, or works with them in some sort of way.
So let's talk about that. The streaming deals is really what the future of college football could look like. The Hulus of the world, even though they're majority owned by Disney, and it would be somewhat of a competitor to the ESPN Plus platform. But what does this mean? Because the Big Ten is doing very nice, but could it maybe mean more money for the ACC? Does the Big Ten maybe swallow some of those ACC teams? Talk a little bit about how the streaming deals could really change the game.
Yeah, and that's it. I mean, you guys are on the forefront of that as well. Like, that's it. I mean, TV as we know it isn't exactly going to exist 5 years from now. Like, ask anybody under the age of maybe us, when was the last network TV show you've watched? It's the joke with the progressive ad, we're going to try to prevent you to becoming your parents. Well, if you know that ad, you're your parents. Like, people don't watch ads anymore. People don't watch normal TV. Look at the NFL. They're going to try to do deals with Amazon even further. And like you said, Hulu and others, because the streaming rights are going to be a bigger part of this. And that's where the conferences can come into play as well. The Big Ten network is a cash machine. They'd like to expand that further into a streaming service. Maybe not Netflix, but maybe they could be like a Peacock of some sort for Big Ten network. Same for the SEC. So it's how you figure out 5 years from now how to get the most alumni bases possible. And with this deal, look, as great as what the SEC is doing, this deal for the Alliance, you got LA, you've got New York, you've got Chicago, you've got San Francisco, you got Seattle. Now, they're not all great college football towns, but you've got the media markets where you have the alumni bases from some of these other programs.
Hey, can you expand a little bit on slowing down playoff expansion? Because I thought maybe this would accelerate playoff expansion because, hey, the SEC's got so many teams already getting in. We need to figure out a way to get more teams in. But you're seeing the reverse of that because the more SEC teams in, the less pie for the rest of the conferences.
There's two ways they're going to go with this. They're going to once do like they kind of did with the BCS days before all the college football playoff stuff and say, all right, we're going to do this expanded college football playoff, but all these big conferences share in the revenue equally, and the SEC is not going to want to do that, especially if it's got 5, 6, 7 of the best teams in the country every year. The other thing that they're going to want to do is say, all right, maybe we put a cap on the number of teams that gets in, and say you can only get 3 teams from one conference in at one time. The SEC is not going to be happy about that either. But here's where I think the SEC is kind of missing it a little bit. I think they're a little bit overreaching and thinking how important they think they are. Obviously, in your world, obviously in the southeast part of the country, SEC football is everything. It really does just mean more. It is the biggest, most important football conference in all of athletics. But people here in Chicago don't care about the SEC. People in LA don't care about the SEC, and vice versa. The SEC doesn't care. Now, obviously, fans everywhere are going to watch the big Texas A&M Alabama game. Are they going to watch Kentucky Ole Miss? Not really. But that's not really the point. If you're the SEC and you're trying to expand, you need a national base to get those gigantic TV dollars that's going to make this all worthwhile. And as we just said, the giant TV dollars might not mean much in the streaming world going forward.
Pete Fiutak with us on the BCSI hotline from College Football News. So, Pete, do you see a scenario where the Alliance, let's say it all works out, they say, you know what, we're not going to schedule games against the SEC. We're just going to let you guys be over there, and we're going to take our pie and just play here?
I don't know if they're going to go that extreme quite yet. I don't know if you're an SEC team, why you would want to play another Power 5 conference team going forward, especially, if you've got these killer 2 new teams coming in. But it does just I think what this does is it just kind of makes a big herd mentality against the SEC and try to slow the expansion down. The other thing this does for the Big Ten, I don't think the Big Ten ever loses Ohio State or Michigan. But let's say the SEC's got this right. Let's say they do have the model. Let's say they do want to expand further. Clemson and Florida State don't make a whole heck of a lot of sense because it doesn't expand the footprint of the geographic area of the SEC. If you're the SEC thinking, where's that next expansion going to come from? You want LA. You want to, go, shoot for the moon and go for Columbus. You might want to try to steal Notre Dame. You want to get bigger and wider again, because you want to get more eyeballs from all across the country and not from just that one region. So I think this is also a way of the Big Ten kind of saying, okay, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Wisconsin, we see you. We're going to try to figure this out on our own too and make sure we stay the richest conference in college athletics, because the Big Ten is still bigger. I mean, the SEC is more important, obviously better at football, but in terms of revenue and dollars, alumni base, geographic reach, the Big Ten is still bigger for the moment.
Do you see the SEC having a counter move if this does come to fruition? Do they say, all right, well, or they're like, look, we're just going to do what we do. You guys do your little alliance thing?
The one thing about this that they could do, and we'll see where this goes depending on if there really is any pushback when it comes to the college football playoff, is that the SEC just says, look, you do your college football playoff. We've got the best teams. We've got we have 4 of the 6 best teams in the preseason. Okay, so if Ohio State wins some sort of college football playoff thing that doesn't have an SEC team in it, what does it really mean, or what does it really matter? We might just go, you know what? We are going to take Clemson. We are going to take Florida State. We're going to expand a little further. We're going to get to 20. We're going to get to 24. You know what? Oklahoma State, come on in. We'll get we'll move out a little bit further that way. Maybe even Kansas to expand to get to Kansas City. We'll figure it out and get even bigger from there. And we're just going to create our own self-contained entity. I don't think that'll happen. I think it goes against what the SEC is going to want in terms of just being really, really big. But that is a little thing. I think you're going to see a little bit of infighting when it comes to this.
Who's the marquee team in the Big 12 moving forward? Who's the team that if they can keep, they're like, is it? I mean, it's not TCU. I don't even know who it is.
Don't think about it in terms of sports. Think about it in terms of the business side of this. And in the business way, it's Kansas, because Kansas has a bunch of things. Now, first of all, don't dismiss the idea that Kansas football not being good is a positive. Like, you're not seeing SEC coaches being like, oh, yay, Texas and Oklahoma. Big Ten coaches were like, oh, okay, Rutgers and Maryland. Okay, cool. Basketball hasn't really factored into this, but it does mean something. So Kansas is a part of this. You do have the Kansas City market. You do have a massive alumni base. And for the Big Ten, they care about this thing called the AAU. It's the American Association of Universities or something. I botched that. But it is a certain level of research and funding of a university. All the Big Ten teams are like at that tier. Only a few of the SEC teams are. Kansas is one of those schools that is at that level. So it does fit in that way. Natural rival for Nebraska and kind of a geographic sort of way. So Kansas would probably be the one in that group that would make the most sense going forward.
Big picture, when do we see playoff expansion happening, and what happens to the NCAA here in a couple months?
Yeah, I think shockingly, I think NCAA just blows right through this, and the college football playoff goes forward in 2 or 3 years whenever they can figure it out. They're going to, with this new deal, with Texas and Oklahoma joining in, ESPN is going to want to quickly readjust their media deals as fast as humanly possible. they would have loved to have had Texas A&M in last year in some way. You would have loved to have had Georgia, and you would have loved to have the other big teams in there, to make it a bigger, better college football playoff. So I do think it's going to happen sooner or later. In terms of the NCAA, it's going to still be around. They still got to deal with the Olympic sports. They still have another function that they have to deal with beyond just football. Still the NCAA tournament for basketball. You still have to deal with the soccer and the volleyball and all the other sports that the NCAA are involved with. But what they are not going to be involved is necessarily in enforcement and really more in the business side of deals with football, because especially with name, image, and likeness changing things up a little bit, that's going to be more on a conference-by-conference basis than it is going to be by the NCAA.
Pete Fiutak with us here on the BCSI hotline. Pete, I want to ask you about A&M and your thoughts on what Jimbo is doing here. We here in College Station obviously are very excited about this season. We think this could be a special one. How do you see it playing out for Texas A&M?
Absolutely. Why? Look at your schedule. You get Alabama at home. You can afford the one loss maybe, and still be. I still fight that Texas A&M was one of the 4 best teams at the end of last year. This year, if your one loss is to Alabama, it's close, and Alabama's a killer again. Maybe this is the year to get into that 4. But certainly everything else is in place. I know the offensive line, as you mentioned, the come in has got a little bit of time needed to come together, but there's talent there. Quarterback situation will come into play. Everything else is there. The defense will be great. The skilled guys are in place. The one thing A&M is going to have to prove it can do, and it might have to do that against the Kent State team that is, you're not going to lose to Kent State. You beat them easily, but they are going to bring an offense. And what A&M is going to have to do is prove that when it does break out of its controlling shell, that works. That style of slow and go works. When they do have to step it up and, put their foot on the gas and, start to score in bunches, they got to prove they can be a little more explosive. But other than that, this is one of the 4 or 5 best teams in college football going into the season. There's absolutely no reason not to shoot for at least the college football playoff.
We have a series where we're breaking down the 21 top players at Texas A&M today. Number 5, Jalen Watermeyer. Just your thoughts on what he means to Jimbo's offense and also to the young quarterback, whoever it may be.
Yeah, think about what the tight end means to the Jimbo offense. I mean, after years of Kevin Sumlin where it just didn't matter, now you're quickly becoming a tight end here very fast. And obviously, the playmakers are there. I mean, the guys are there to make the new quarterback shine no matter what. And when you have a safety valve like him, when you have a tight end of that caliber, you see what that does for any sort of an offense, especially now at the collegiate level where the passing game has ramped up so much. He's one of the best in the country, if not the best, coming into the season.
Pete, I'll ask you the question we asked our audience today, and maybe I'll give you some time to think about it, but name a player that you were initially wrong about. So, like, some people in Houston were obviously very wrong about J.J. Watt. Could it be maybe Kellen Mond you were wrong about? Is there somebody in college football history that you look at like, man, I didn't think this guy was going to pan out, or vice versa? You thought they were going to be great, and they weren't?
At the next level?
Or just even here collegiately, just whatever.
Go on to the NFL?
Sure.
To this day, I'm still not quite sure why Josh Rosen is awful. He's top of mind at the media moment in terms of because he had it. He has the pro style skills. Obviously, it's just such a hard position. You never know when it comes to quarterbacks. But I thought he was going to be one of those guys that was going to just step in and just sort of rip it up. All-timer. Vernon Golston, I think, is my number 1 all-time Ohio State former. You don't even probably know who he is now, but drafted by the Jets early. I thought he was going to be kind of what Chase Young is right now. I never thought, for example, deep in your world, I never was a Johnny Manziel guy at the next level, but to flip it around, I never thought Baker Mayfield was going to be that great. I'm a heightist. I think I kind of like my quarterbacks to be, 6'5", 240 and being able to move. So I never thought Baker Mayfield would be that great.
Pete Fiutak, College Football News. Pete, we appreciate it, man. Hope to do it again soon.
Anytime. You have a great one.
You too. Pete Fiutak, College Football News on the BCSI hotline. We appreciate him calling in the show. And also, if you want to get your text messages in, you can, 979-693-1150. That is the A&B text line. We will take your calls and your text messages next. We can talk about the player you were initially wrong about. We also talk a little bit more about what is happening with the quarterback situation. We've got some sound coming up from the press conference on Friday. All that and more on TexAgs Radio.
You're listening to The Zone. Aggieland's all sports station.
First Financial is proud to be the title sponsor for the 2021 Chamber of Commerce Lobster Fest and Golf Classic, the Chamber's largest and most popular fundraiser of the year. Howdy, I'm Cal McNeil with First Financial, and come be a part of the two-day fundraising event. Enjoy lobster and steak dinner September 19th at the Bresna Center, and then tee off Monday, September 20th at Pebble Creek Country Club. Support your Chamber of Commerce and reserve a table, register a golf team, or become a sponsor. Call 260-5200 or log on to bcschamber.org for more information.
With protection for your motorcycle, boat, and RV, your Progressive policy works the way it's supposed to. Unlike this indecisive sports talk host.
All right, welcome to the Big Shark Show.
Hey, Big Shark, any predictions for the game tonight?
Well, if you ask me, they are definitely going to win big, but I also think there's a chance they don't win. It's just my gut that they will, or they won't, but I do have a hunch that whatever happens, we will definitely know when it does.
Wait, so...
Either way, they always seem to come up with a big play, or sometimes just a smaller one.
Switch to Progressive today.
Bottom line, they're going to win. Or lose.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Bryan Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley. Brazos Life, the annual manual. Welcome home, Brazos Valley.
Brazos Family.
Brazos Wellness.
Brazos Valley Bride.
Peace, Brazos Christian Life.
With the combined power of 7 magazine titles, 11 radio stations, and digital solutions, Bryan Broadcasting Publications can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
He was the heart of your family, and he taught you our history. He helped you fix your first flat. He was the best backyard DJ around, and every time he'd tell a story, he'd own the room. But now more than ever, he may feel alone. Today, older adults and their loved ones are struggling to connect in a time when connection has never been more important. But there is something we can do. Embrace our older loved ones through StoryCorps Connect. With StoryCorps Connect, you can honor seniors remotely with an interview about their life. Every interview will be archived at the Library of Congress, becoming part of American history, so that years from now, future generations can listen in.
All right, Grandpa, what's one piece of advice you have for me?
Just 3 words, sweetheart. Live with courage. The man that had the best stories still has plenty of stories to tell. So connect virtually and share the conversation of a lifetime at StoryCorpsConnect.org/AARP. Connect, honor, share. StoryCorps Connect. A message from AARP, StoryCorps, and the Ad Council.
You can listen to Aggie football, basketball, and baseball on your Amazon Dot or Echo. Step 1, say, Alexa, enable Zone 1150 skill. Step 2, anytime you want to hear fighting Texas Aggie football, Texas A&M women's basketball, or Aggie baseball, all you have to do is say, Alexa, play Zone 1150. It's that simple to listen to your favorite A&M teams that play on the Zone with your Amazon Dot or Echo. Make sure to say one time, Alexa, enable Zone 1150 skill. Then say, Alexa, play Zone 1150.
TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Going to actually meet up with Jackson Rollo here coming up this week. The difference is real there, guys. They're an independent insurance company built around educating you on exactly what you're paying for, doing the shopping for you so that you can accomplish all of your insurance goals. You can call them up, 888-44-ROLLO, or go to rolloinsurance.com. And remember, their headquarters right here in College Station off of Highway 6. So a lot of text messages to get into and some commentary that I would like to do, so we'll do that. First thing I did want to read, though, Pura Vida, or as somebody would say, Pura Vida, on the YouTube board asked a question about the Houston coach being Bill O'Brien back in the day. Terrible, but isn't it interesting that he's at Alabama? Does that mean Alabama will be poorly coached for offense? And I'm going to answer that a couple different ways. I think OB is a good coach, not a great coach, and he's a good offensive mind, okay? So there's that. His biggest issue is the control that he had in the organization and also the way, the cold environment he established there. He worked for Belichick, and of course, when you have a Tom Brady as your quarterback, you can't mess that up. Tom's going to overrule you, and Tom and Bill got into it on the sidelines that one time that was very visible. Everybody saw that. It was all over YouTube and whatnot. So do I think that he's in bad hands? No, but I think OB makes a lot of bad calls. I do. I think, if I remember correctly, he's the one who decided to do the J.J. Watt Wildcat where he got hurt a couple years back. I think it was OB who decided to do that. Regardless, I think O'Brien's fine. especially when you have a coach like Nick Saban with the real control. OB's problem is when he has to buy the groceries and also the personnel and all the power that he accumulated with the Texans. He's not going to have that with Alabama. So that to me, that is the biggest difference. Do I think he's going to make some bad calls? Yes, but Saban's going to, without a doubt, capitalize on that situation. He's going to overrule him when needed. And OB, who likes to stand up to people, you can't stand up to the greatest college football coach of all time and have a leg to stand on. You just cannot. So I don't think it's going to go as poorly as it did for the Texans, but it will be funny. It will be funny. And again, Saban has had a lot of different offensive coordinators. They've all gotten better jobs because of working for him. I think OB will be fine when it's all said and done. Hopefully he makes a lot of mistakes, though, on October 9th. Because that is the game where those decisions, I think having them at home with 2 undefeated teams, 2 top 5 teams at that point going at it, and the environment at Kyle Field, getting the pressure to OB, I think would be interesting. Remember, this is the same coach who had a couple leads in playoff games, and he actually is a very bad playoff coach, very, very bad playoff coach. So we'll see what that means when it comes to playoff implication games between the Aggies and Alabama. Did want to get into some sound from Jimbo on Friday here for a moment. So I asked a question about Bryce Foster because Lucci had reported to us how good he's been looking and actually ran with the ones a little bit at center. I'm excited to see what Bryce can do. The offensive line as a group is a big question mark, as we've heard, but Jimbo is so excited about the young guys that he's got coming up the pipeline.
Those young linemen, man, we didn't miss on any of those guys. I like that group. I really do. I think they all have potential. And I think Bryce is one of the guys I think that has a great chance to contribute very early because of his physicality. I mean, his physical nature and how well most guys that are freshmen aren't built like that. And
yeah, most guys aren't built like most human beings are not built like Bryce Foster. The guy is a house, mobile. He's athletic, strong. He's got it upstairs. Like, he's just got all the tools. Absolutely. When you get that kind of high praise from Jimbo, and then just the offensive line in general, for him to go out and say that they didn't miss on anybody, not that he's going to say, yeah, we missed on a couple. He's not going to say that, obviously. But he hit big. And with a year where we have question marks because of 4 new starters, having that kind of depth, even though it's young, having a guy that you will feel comfortable starting in a needed situation, that is huge. Huge. They did not miss on him. We talked earlier about the quarterbacks, and Jimbo saying that we could see the starter announced soon. Maybe it's going to be this week. They did have the scrimmage over the weekend. Maybe that's coming up soon. Jalen Jones and Jones Island is excited about what they have at quarterback, and he gives a defensive mind perspective when it comes to those two.
I think they're both excellent. I think they're both capable of, of the job. So whoever it goes to, that's the decision for the coach and things like that. But whether or not whoever's, going in for the job on Saturday, I can't wait.
Yeah, we can't wait either. And we should find out who that's going to be here soon enough. But when you have such a young team, at least offensively, when we're talking about the offensive line back to the quarterback, but then the positions around you are veterans, and you have dependable players and different types of playmakers and skilled players, it's going to add up to what I think a successful year for A&M and a college football playoff berth, in my opinion, without a doubt. And Chase in Houston reminds me it was called the Watt Cat in the playoff game against the Chiefs. Yeah, OB made that mistake. He also says, with the question of the day, when I thought someone had the wide receiver position humming and recruiting, which, we already read that one from Tori. But yes, you're exactly right on that one. David Edmond reminds us, because Pete Fiutak talking about quarterbacks that he got wrong, Baker Mayfield isn't great. How many quarterbacks would have made the playoffs 2 years ago with that roster? Mayfield is grossly overrated, David Edmond saying that one. And Addison and Brian, when we're talking about Jalen Watermeyer, what is amazing is that when Watermeyer and Kupp were recruited and signed, Kupp was the prize to most fans, and Watermeyer was just the other guy. But it goes to show that as a recruit to never discount your chance to play and take advantage. And secondly, for Jimbo and company, They know what they're doing, recruiting-wise and more, than the experts and the fans. Appreciate that, Addison. Thank you very much. Yeah. Look, and the size and the speed. Look, I still think Baylor Cupp could be a very special player. I do. But we talk about Jimbo and his development, the guys he has that maybe came with some nice, a nice name by their name, but not the 4 or 5-star talent that some of the others had. I think Watermeyer is one of those guys that has grown into just a stud of a college football player that the entire college football world should know. If they don't know, they don't watch enough. He has become that style of player. All right, right now excited to talk about my buddy Chance McClain in Heritage Films, yourheritagefilm.com, He makes high-quality documentaries. I'm talking HBO, Netflix, A&E style for your mother, your father, your grandfather. He tells people stories, and he's amazing about it. So when you think about yourself and what your family means to you, like my father, I've told that story many times. Like I want my kids to really understand his story. And, the twins that are 13 get it, but are they going to, what about the younger ones when 10 years from now, 15 years from now? I want that story captured, and I want it done like HBO style because we're all celebrities in our families, guys. We all have great stories. You do not have to be Brad Pitt, Tom Hanks, or whomever, Cameron Diaz. I just came with a random name there. You don't have to be that famous to get a documentary done by you, and Chance and his guys can do it. He does first-class documentaries, travels around the country doing these cinematic documentary type films, first class, 8 to 10 weeks to do this, right? It takes a couple of months, but he's a slave to the process. He wants to get it right, and I'm telling you, your family is going to love it. Check it out, yourheritagefilm.com. That number, 713-893-8341. That is yourheritagefilm.com.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. Loss of a Spouse is a free seminar this Sunday from 4 to 6 at Peace Lutheran Church. Email rhonda@peacelutheranbcs.org for more information. A free seminar for seniors on evaluating your home for safety, comfort, and aging is being held the afternoon of Wednesday, September 1st. Contact the Mature Well Lifestyle Center to register. Celebrate the City of Bryan's 150th anniversary with the official Bryan, Texas History Tour. Find more information about this self-guided tour at 150.bryantx.gov. In recognition of its diamond anniversary, the Brazos Valley Museum of Natural History announces a new mini exhibit celebrating 60 years of service to the Brazos Valley and the state of Texas, on display through January. Listen in to Mitch Light of The Athletic, Wednesdays at 12:05 on the Louis Bellina Show for all you need to know about college football from across the country. The gang is back together weekdays from 11 to 2. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Who knew mowing could be this fun? Hi, this is David from Kairos Truck Center inviting you to come down and take a test drive on one of our zero-turn mowers from Cub Cadet or Ferris. There's no better way to social distance than getting outdoors. At Kairos Truck Center, we offer zero money down and 0% interest on all our zero-turn mowers. At Kairos Truck Center, we make mowing as close to fun as it gets. Kairos Truck Center, Highway 21, half a mile east of the bypass in Bryan.
Did you know that most adults with autism are unemployed, and a major hurdle is the lack of job opportunities? That's why Autism Speaks is teaming up with Lee Container, the J. Donald and Laurel Lee Family Foundation Fund, and Delivering Jobs to create a more inclusive workforce in the U.S. Are you an HR professional, community leader, or business owner? Join us in creating a workforce where people of all abilities can contribute and thrive. To learn more, visit autismspeaks.org/employment.
Furnished by the Entertainment Industry Foundation.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our sponsors for backing the Aggies all season long. First Financial Bank, Bryan College Station Toyota, Rudy's Barbecue, Schulte Roofing, The Sleep Station, and Pioneer Steel. Here's a big gig 'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
can hear the Paul Feinbaum Show weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone. Presented by Polaris Fun Center. Paul Feinbaum is SEC Country, and Aggieland is SEC Country too. Join Paul weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone. Polaris Fun Center sells and services Polaris ATVs, Rangers, Razors, Global Electric Cars, Brutus, and the Polaris Slingshot. Polaris Fun Center, where they sell and service fun, not tractors. The voice of the SEC. And you can hear Paul Feinbaum weekdays 2 to 4 here on the Zone.
I'm not going to comment on the music. Not going to talk about how bad it is. I won't. I'm going to keep a segment where I don't joke about it. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio, getting ready for the start of the season here, not far away at all. We got this weekend. We actually got some games going on. The next weekend, it all gets started. And with that, we go to the BCSI hotline. Jordan Pugh joining the show, former Aggie great. What's going on, Jay?
Hey, man, what's going on with you? Hey, congratulations, by the way, on the new gig. You know what I mean? First time I get to talk to you, man, but everything is going good. How you doing?
I'm doing wonderful, man. Thank you so much for joining the show. You're here on the BCSI hotline. And so, like, I've said it on the show a couple times today in the last couple weeks. Dude, I am getting sick of just talking about polls and opinions. And, like, I just want to see some ball. How excited are you to get the season going?
Man, you know, it's football season, man. Football's in the air. You know, you see it all on ESPN with the training camp fights, man. You see all the polls. Everybody's arguing about where they should be positioned. It's football time, man. And, you know, you're looking at, especially with the A&M fan base, you know, how we've grown under the Jimbo era. You know, you're looking at where we're positioned at, number 5 in the polls. I mean, we're sitting right on our number 5 and number 6. We're sitting right on the cusp, man. So it's an exciting time, man. It's ready to strap it up, man, and get going and hear the pass back.
What do you think is the biggest thing that Jimbo is doing? When you watch how he's building this team, an SEC type of team, what is the biggest thing that stands out of how he's done his building process?
It's all about culture. I think when you look at it from the foundation up, it's all about the culture. We've never had an issue with talent. Talent has always been there. But when you look at the thing that we've always lacked in, we've lacked in depth, but most importantly, we've lacked in culture. When you look at the SEC, you look at the perennial teams, let's say Alabama, let's say Georgia, you can throw Florida in that mix if you want to, and LSU of the world. The culture has always been in place, those successful teams over and over again. And the one thing that Jimbo has preached since the day that he's got here is the culture, right? The mindset, the mentality. He always talks about the faceless opponent, right? When you think that way, you start to operate that way. And so you're seeing the team operate in that capacity. And last year, you saw them take a step. You saw them move forward. You saw the record that they had last year, the way that they played. Now it's just building on top of each other. So I think the number one thing he's done in his tenure so far is he's created the culture, which has attracted the right type of athlete to help us be successful.
All right, let's talk about the secondary. Just when you see some of those vets out there and what that means to a defense, from Leon to Miles, and just the ability to have the young guys out there too. We were playing Jalen Sound just a little while ago. Just so when you see that secondary, how scary can they be?
Oh, man, they could be phenomenal. You know, you talked about two guys, Miles Jones, and you look at Leon O'Neal, right? You look at those two guys, man, those are the staples. Those are the guys who are the glue of the foundation. And you look at what they've done in the secondary and how they've grown over the period of time that they've been on campus, right? You expect big things from them. You know, and then looking at the defense from a whole, you look from the front 7 all the way back to the secondary. This could be a scary defense. And adding in that experience, going against the SEC type of talent, you're looking at what Elko has done with the defense, man. I'm ready to see what they're going to do. You know what I mean? I think it's going to be a big-time season, and I think most importantly, the defense is going to be the anchor of the season.
Jordan, so obviously as great as that defense was last year, Alabama was able to slice them up. Now, is that because Alabama is Alabama? What has to be different this year from limiting those big plays? What does the defense have to do differently in those big play moments?
Well, you said it right there. It's big plays. They have to limit the big plays. The only thing that Alabama did against us last year, their explosive plays were off the chart, right? But you're looking at what they had. They had 2 Heisman candidate receivers. You're looking at Waddle and you're looking at Smith that they had. But most importantly, man, is limiting those big plays. And I think with the secondary, that's the number one thing that we have to go into the season with, is understanding and not being able to give those up. When you look at the game last year, the game got away from us because of the big, I think it was 2 big explosive touchdown passes. I'll say 40 or more yards that they had against us last year, right? You take those plays away, all of a sudden the momentum shifts a little bit different. You know what I mean? Football is a game of momentum, especially if it gets away from you early. So I think if they can limit that, you talk about another year of experience, a year of being in Elko system. I think, man, you're seeing something different.
Looks like
that Jimbo is creating, and I think you'll see a different team, man, in these big games this year.
Let me ask you about that, because people throw around the momentum thing a lot, and just from a player perspective, what does that feel like? If you make a big hit and you feel the change, like you do, or vice versa, they score a huge play on you, and it kind of sinks the air out of you.
It's almost like a domino effect. Once that first one hits, boy, it's hard to stop that momentum or that train from rolling. The same thing. And sometimes all it takes is that big play to get back in the game. When you look at the game last year with Alabama, it's those big plays, it just turned that momentum tide, and offensively, you're trying to match it now. And the one thing about Jimbo's offense, he wants to methodically beat you up. He wants to run it in your face. He wants to run you into the ground. But also, when you give up big plays like that, it forces the offense to react. It forces the offense to equal or match that. And so now you get into a back and forth matchup versus being able to run what you truly want to run. So when you get into those situations, man, and I've been on both sides of the coin. I've been on the when we're rolling on offense and defense, and when we're just trying to stop the bleeding, it's harder. You can't play as free when you know you're giving up those big plays, because you know you're doing everything you can to get back into the game.
Jordan, tell us the story. So I was reading before this interview that you grew up an Alabama fan. So tell us how that part of your story, but then how you made the right choice and became an Aggie.
Right. So, okay. So my dad is from Alabama. Okay. All right. My dad he grew up about 30 minutes north of Mobile. Okay. So my whole life, that's all we watched. Alabama football, and Kentucky basketball. My mom grew up in Kentucky, and my mom went to UK. So all I knew was the SEC. So I'm getting recruited, man, and Todd Conley was the coach, the recruiting coordinator in the Dallas area, came and recruited me. I got the offer from Alabama. My whole family went crazy. You would have thought I became the president of the United States. You know what I mean? But as it went on, man, and as Coach Aggieland at the time under Franchione started recruiting me, and I started learning more and more and more about A&M, it was a no-brainer for me. I couldn't turn it down. And the thing that sealed it for me was I went to, I want to say it was an Aggie night down at the Cotton Bowl down in Fair Park in Dallas. All right, so I walk in there, man. I meet Rick Perry, the governor at the time. I meet George Bush, Tank Marshall, all those guys. I'm walking there. They know who I am. They're talking about my Plano West days. I said, wait a minute, you guys know me? I said, these are important people. So they got to talking about it, and I realized the tradition. I realized the Aggie network. I realized the alumni base. I said, man, no, I got to go here. This is where I got to be. So that's how all that stuff shifted. I grew up a diehard Alabama fan, but A&M turned me. They converted me over, and I've loved it ever since.
So hold on. I just heard you say you grew up, your family, Kentucky and Alabama. Goodness gracious, yes. You've seen some hardware in the past.
Yes. That's what I'm saying, man. My mom, hard UK. Big time UK basketball. My dad, Alabama football all day. And I will say this, the Aggie fan base has turned my dad. My dad grew up in the state of Alabama, but once he went to those A&M games, once he saw just the tradition, he saw the rabid fan base, he said, hey, man, this is my squad moving forward forever. So I'm telling you, man, that Aggie alumni base, that Aggie fan base is something special.
Talk to us a little bit about Texas coming back. Going to be, whenever it is, whenever SEC expansion ends up happening, if it's next year or the year after, just your thoughts on that rivalry being renewed.
Oh, I love it. I love the fact that it's being renewed. I love the fact that we get to beat them up in the SEC now. You know what I mean? When I look at Texas, one of my closest friends is Sam Macho. He's on ESPN now, right? Doing the ESPN breakdown, and he went to Texas, of course. So we were talking back and forth about it. It's funny. We go to the SEC, and Texas sees the success that we've had. We had instant success when we went to the SEC. You look at the brand. You look at how we've taken over the state, how we've taken over the recruiting. All of a sudden, that little brother syndrome that they were delusional to, they're starting to see the shift in the landscape, right? That's all what it's about anyway. We already know that. But the fact that we get to add the rivalry back, the fact that we get to prove that we're the best in the state is something special to me. So, I welcome it on. Hey, like Jimbo said, be careful what you wish for. This is what you want. Okay, come on in and let's get at it. So I think it's going to be exciting, and I think it's something that the state needs. They need that rivalry back between two powerhouses in the state.
What do you think, man? Do you think last year, I think they should have been one of the 4 best teams. They were one of the 4 best teams in the country. Yes. They should have been. But do you think this year has that same kind of vibe to it?
Oh, yeah. I think this year is a completely different vibe. I think this year the expectation is not only playoff, I think championship berth. I think that's what, when we talk about the culture, I think Jimbo has created the standard. He has made it a standard of success now. It's not just getting to the playoff. That's nice. It's winning the playoff game, getting to the championship game. I think with this team, when you hear the players talk, you hear them exude confidence, not arrogance, but confidence, because they put the work in, they understand what the mission is, and they know how to go about it now. I think last year was the catalyst. Being on the brink of the playoff is something about tasting success. When you taste success, I tell my kids this that I coach all the time. The moment you taste success, it gets addictive. Because now you know what it feels like. Now you know what it tastes like. And now you know what the work is that's required in order to reach it. So I think now that they've experienced that BCS bowl game, they experienced what it was like being right on the outside, knowing that they deserve to be one of the best 4 teams. I think you're going to see a different mindset, a different team this year.
You going to come to some games this year?
I got to do my best to try and make it. My wife is the new head coach at Plano Louise. She's a head volleyball coach, man. So I'm at volleyball tournaments and games all weekend. So if I can get down there, I'll do my best. But more than likely, I'll probably try and hit that Arkansas game, man. So since it's right down the road.
You got it, man. Let's get together whenever you do, my friend.
All right, let's do it.
Thanks, Jordan. Appreciate your time, brother.
All right, appreciate it.
Good stuff there. Yeah, enjoyed having him on the show. Gabe told me, he's like, dude, you got to get Jordan on the show. He's awesome. You're going to love him. And he's right. He was very insightful, so we appreciate that. Thank you very much for Jordan and Pugh joining the BCSI hotline here on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Right now, let's talk about Dr. Troy Elms and Jeremy Stewart at Elms Orthodontics. So I'm watching Jordan on the screen there on Zoom. He doesn't need braces. He's fine. Maybe he got them done before. Maybe he had Invisalign, whatever. His smile's fine. But some of you folks I see out there, time to fix that smile. Time to fix that grill. And if you have small kids at home, or not small, but, preteens, teenagers, the teeth, you're getting a little crowding because they're coming in and things aren't aligned the way you want them to, they're the guys you want to go call. Dr. Elms and Dr. Stewart at Elms Orthodontics. Dr. Troy Elms, class of 86, mainstay in our community for over 30 years. Dr. Jeremy Stewart, class of 03. They are an incredible team together. He posts on TexAgs all the time, so we appreciate his patronage here on TexAgs. But I'm going to tell you guys, you got to reach out to them, get that free consultation. 1501 Emerald Parkway in College Station. The phone number for Elms Orthodontics, 979-693-6300, or learn more online at drelms.com.
This is The Zone, Aggieland's all-sports station.
We think it's time for a laugh. Brian Broadcasting and the Nikki Peterson Talent Network present Good Clean Fun, a comedy night with Carrie Pomeroli.
So you guys, yes, I am a member of the Mommy Mafia. I have 2 kids. I have a 4-year-old and a good one.
Hollywood's favorite clean comedian is live in College Station, Friday, September 3rd at 7 p.m. at Skybreak Church.
I was in the Zumba class, and there's this teacher, right? And she's all cute and sassy, and she's like, shake what your mama gave you. I'm in the back are going, my mama gave me sciatica and allergies.
Bring your friends, bring a date, bring anyone who's ready for a good time.
You guys, who's happy just to be out of the house? Really? Right?
Good Clean Fun, a comedy night with Carrie Pomeroli, September 3rd, presented by Nikki Peterson Talent Network. Be discovered. Thanks in part to our sponsors, Strata Auto Repair, Mark's Manny's Appliance Repair and Cleaning Service, Dirt Road Rustics Furniture and Home Decor, Buff City Soap, Soap Makery, and Long Way Home Adoptables. Tickets, VIP, and group packages available at BrianBroadcasting.com.
Hey, it's David Nuño. Texas is known for football, barbecue, and hot summer temperatures. And typically, the hotter the weather, the higher your electricity bill. But with some help from Energy Ogre, a Texas technology company, you can lower your bill by up to 40%. In fact, we signed up 2 years ago, and they saved my family 35%. Energy Ogre will find you the cheapest electricity plan in your area. Manage all future contracts, saving you time and money. Go to EnergyOgre.com and enter code HOWDY for a free month of service. That's EnergyOgre.com to start saving today.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thank you to all our listeners and our sponsors for backing the Aggies all year long. Cooper's Old Time Pit Barbecue, Swartman Flooring, Prosperity Bank, Hargrove Insurance, Park at Traditions Exceptional Senior Living, Cherry Rufino Broker Realtor with Coldwell Banker Apex Realtors, and Amarillo National Bank. Here's a big gig-em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
What if the music stopped? If the familiar voices were silenced? If there were no breaking news updates? What if your companion and connection to your community came with a monthly fee? Don't worry, we're free local radio with you wherever you go, celebrating 100 years and looking forward to the next 100. We are broadcasters. Text radio to 52886 and let Congress know you depend on your local TV and radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
The best is yet to come in College Station.
Chase Lane is in for a touchdown! Yes!
Head coach Jimbo Fisher and the Aggies are ready to rise to the top of the SEC.
Swing to Anias, he's in the end zone, a 6-yard reception.
Join us Saturday, September 4th. It's the season opener versus the Kent State Golden Flashes on your home for Aggies football, the Texas A&M Sports Network. Listen to Aggie football on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Online at radioaggieland.com. Or tell your smart speaker to play Zone 1150.
I feel like we heard the song already. I think we did. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. It is a jam. This is on your Spotify playlist. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Got a lot of text messages to get into before Billy joins the show, and some questions for Billy later on Hey Luch, if we can fit that in. We do have Peter Burns coming on at 10:35, so we may have to do that, as we do the show. But right now it's time for Around Aggieland with Richard Zane, presented by Norman G. State Bank. Norman G. State Bank, rock solid banking. Check them out at normangstatebank.com. Young Richard, how are you, sir?
I'm good, David. How about yourself?
So I've been calling you Young Richard for a while, but I think others call you that. Is that a play from the Joe Rogan show calling Young Jamie? Or do you know where that came from?
I don't know where that comes from. I thought you were the only one that called me Young Richard. I know Dalton calls me all kind of assorted, rude names. Lucci calls me the Zaniac. Gabe had all kinds of weird, pet names. They were names. He would call everybody everybody had 5-6 different nicknames, and none of them were
Noonster.
None of them were cute. It was always Zane, Dickie Z, Richie Z,
Dickie
Richie.
Z.
Yeah, it was all of them were terrible.
Well, I used to call him Baccaroni with cheese. I don't know why. That's because I'm a dad.
That's his new nickname.
Baccaroni.
We've got it.
What's up, Baccaroni? He did not like it. I don't even know if he remembers it, but he did not like it. All right, so what's happening around Aggieland, my friend?
So Texas A&M football's fall camp continues to roll on. They practice Friday, Saturday, and then they scrimmage Sunday. Unfortunately, we didn't have any media access, so we weren't able to provide any content on TexAgs.com. They will not practice today. They should practice later this week. Unsure if we're going to get access to that or not. They are ranked 6th in both the AP poll and the coaches poll headed into the season. 12 days away from kickoff, of course, that game, September the 4th at Kyle Field against Kent State. 7 o'clock kickoff on ESPNU. The other football news, Texas A&M soccer, number 9 Texas A&M soccer, falling to number 8 TCU last night, 2-1 in Fort Worth. A own goal off of Carlina Sample in the 11th minute opened up the scoring, and then TCU added a second in the 77th. A&M scored in the 86th, but it was too little too late. They fell 2-1. First time the Aggies lost to TCU since 1992.
Yeah, I heard them talking about it. I was watching the broadcast last night, and I will tell you, I feel so bad for A&M because in both games, one was an 89th minute goal that they gave up to Florida State, and that game could have gone. Florida State was the better team in that game. I didn't watch it, but from all indications, I did watch last night's TCU game, and it was just a couple of fluke goals. Again, the own goal and obviously the redirect goal, which even the lady who scored from TCU was shocked that it went in. It was just bad luck for A&M. Hopefully they'll take care of business on Saturday.
A&M did not dress for forwards in their match on Sunday night. And you mentioned Saturday, number 7 Clemson coming to town at Ellis Field, the first home match for the Aggies. 7 o'clock kickoff. We'll be streaming on the SEC Network Plus. For those planning to come to the game, it is Fish Camp night. And if anybody's familiar with Aggie soccer, that is always a packed match. A ton of fans come out, so general admission seating will be limited. Going to have to get there early and plan ahead if you're going to want to try and find a seat at Ellis.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's going to be a great crowd. What else you got for us?
Volleyball fell in an exhibition match to number 10 Baylor on Friday night. The Bears winning that one 3-1. London Austin Roark, friend of the program, hitting at a 625 clip, David. That's pretty impressive. Kind of think about it, baseball averages, 400 would be really good. 625 is pretty impressive.
I think that's extremely, you know why? Him on the show.
Yeah, she's right here.
I'm pulling a Jim Rome.
So,
Karma.
Camille Connor, the senior setter, the leader of that team, also did not play in the exhibition, just getting some other people some work.
Sure.
They'll begin their regular season this Friday, traveling to Honolulu. We did not get the invite. Marquette, Fairfield, and Hawaii this weekend in Hawaii. They'll be back after a 4-game road trip, and they'll actually speak to the media today, so we'll get to talk to Bird and a couple players later today. I don't know if you saw this, David, but this weekend, running at the Prefontaine Classic in Eugene, Oregon, the A Thing Mo show just continued.
Does it ever end?
Dominating, bettering her own American record in the 800 meter. She ran a 1:55.04. There's a clip out there that we put on TexAgs.com. The beginning of the clip doesn't even have Mo in it because her lead is so big. Like they had to, after a couple seconds, they finally cut to the wide shot, and there she was, just pacing the pack, just dominating. 7-0 since turning professional. And
is that good? Is undefeated good?
That's very good, and I think it's going to continue for a little while longer, probably a lot of while longer.
Congratulations.
You also saw Friday that the NCAA announced sanctions against Texas A&M's men's basketball program for practice violations, and also analyst working with the team. Buzz Williams suspended for the first 2 games of this season. A&M on probation for 2 years and also received a $5,000 fine. Minor recruiting restrictions, like 5% of their recruiting days gone, and I think that's about it. Jalen Johnson, we knew this guy was transferring in from Mississippi State. A&M officially announced he's joining the basketball program this week. So welcome to Aggieland, Mr. Johnson. And Jim Schlossnagle,
What a weekend.
3 recruits, 3 commitments: 2023 right-handed pitcher Jason Bodine, 2024 infielder Wyatt Sanford, and 2023 outfielder Brady Sullivan. Those 3 guys joining an already impressive recruiting class for Schlossnagle. And I got to give a tip of the cap to men's golf Johannes Veerman, winning the D&D Real Czech Masters on the European Tour over the weekend, finishing 15 under and beating everybody by 2 strokes. His first win on the European Tour.
Thank you, Richard. Appreciate you. Let's go to Tori for 31 seconds. Tori, what do we got?
Okay. I have a TexAgs subscriber that says, me. I really thought I was a world-class athlete back in the day. Thought my high school coach had it out for me from keeping me on the bench. Thought he poisoned the mind of college scouts and that they weren't interested either. Turns out I just wasn't very fast or strong or good. Total misevaluation on my part. My bad.
I think I had the exact same one for myself. I still think I could. You know what? I still think I could provide some value for any of the A&M's teams out there. You name it, I'm willing to do it. Thank you to Tori, and thank you to Richard Zane. All right, in the 10 o'clock hour, Billy Liucci going to be joining us. Peter Burns. Also at 10:35, we'll have that, your calls, your text messages, and more on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
You're listening to Aggieland, only all sports station. The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
What if one day you went to your secret hiding place? You know, that spot that only you know about? And instead of what you came for, you found something a little different. What if, instead of your private stash, you found a simple phone number, 1-800-662-HELP? What would you do? Would you stop and give it some thought? Would you make the call? The truth is, all drug use comes with risk. Before those risks become real, before drugs turn your life upside down, before drugs take their toll on you and your family, know that there is help. You can quit. If you or someone you love is struggling with drug use or prescription drug misuse, call 1-800-662-HELP for for 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral, or go to samhsa.gov/thereishelp.
You can listen to your favorite shows, Louie, Chip, TexAgs, or Paul Feinbaum online at radioaggieland.com or zone1150.com. This is KZNE College Station Bryan, Aggieland's home for sports.
From WTAW, I'm Chelsea Reber with a news update on the Zone. A College Station city councilman supports the idea of visitors contributing more to paying the cost of providing city services. One idea presented to Bob Brick during his visit on WTAW's The Infomaniacs was raising the sales tax rate.
Yes, I would support a sales tax increase by some measure. Certainly that has to come from the state.
Brick noted an increase in College Station sales tax collections during the pandemic.
Surprisingly, no one expected that, and that helped us assembling the current budget for this next year. Yeah.
Sales taxes generate 36% of the revenue for the city of College Station, which is the same percentage as property taxes. Blaine College trustees are told at their last meeting to anticipate fall enrollment going down compared to last year.
The numbers right now as of today are about 21% down from census date last year, and we're about 11% down from this date and time a year ago.
Chancellor Mary Hensley says it's a topic that's constantly talked about among her peers at 50 community colleges around the state. Last year, Blaine's budget was built on an enrollment decrease of 20%. A 66-year-old Bryan man convicted 4 times of drunk driving was arrested Saturday night for DWI, aggravated assault of a family member with a deadly weapon, making a terroristic threat to a family member, 2 weapons charges, and evading and resisting arrest. 4 Bryan police officers responded to a disturbance Saturday night in a neighborhood east of Kemp Elementary School. Nathaniel Phillips was arrested following a chase that ended when his SUV struck a tree near Neal Elementary School. 2 Bryan men were seen on surveillance video Friday night taking $5,000 of copper from a BTU power plant. 38-year-old Belden Sprouse Jr. and 22-year-old Andrew Hellner were charged with burglary and the theft. For more news, go to WTAW.com. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
Howdy, this is G. Guerreri, head soccer coach for the 5-time SEC champion Texas Aggies. I know how hard it is to put together a championship team. It takes talent, great chemistry, and the intelligence of how to use those. It's the same when I think about my home and lawn. So I trust the intelligence, chemistry, and professionalism of Aggieland Green to keep my lawn, trees, and shrubs in championship shape. I hope you'll give Tim and his team at Aggieland Green a call to make you proud of your yard. That's AggielandGreen.com.
When your diesel truck or construction equipment needs DEF, WPI has the best price in town. Only $8.50 for 2.5 gallons. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI can help. From custom hydraulic hoses, O-rings to teeth, buckets and blades. Any part, filter, fluid, battery, or lighting is at your local WPI. Visit Jesse James at WPI's new location in Bryan, Highway 21 east at Marina Road, or click WPI.com.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on the Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. Less than 2 weeks until Fighting Texas Aggie football kicks off the season against Kent State, and there are several questions still for the 6th-ranked Aggs, most notably at offensive line. I asked Coach Jimbo Fisher how the center position is shaking out.
You have Luke right there who's doing things. He's been we how he does practice and things. We're moving him around, but I think Bryce Foster's been an outstanding, and Wyckoff has done a really good. Both I know they're freshmen. Wyckoff did in the spring, and Foster's come in and been natural. Those guys have done a great job making calls, and our defense is as multiple as anybody.
Now, that may seem like a lot of contenders for just one position, but Fisher says that's by design.
You learn from your past. One time in camp, I went through 6 centers. We went through 6 centers in camp, and the guy who snapped ended up being he finally got his first rep on the Wednesday before we played on a Saturday. That was the first time he got a rep one year. That team also played in the SEC championship, believe it or not. So it can happen. So I've learned that you're going to have enough centers.
Now, for more insight into fall camp, tune into the Bellucci Hour tonight from 6 to 7 right here on The Zone. Ninth-ranked Aggie women's soccer put together a late rally, but in the end it just wasn't enough as they fell to number 8 TCU last night 2-1. Taylor Pounds found the net for the Ags, who fall to 0-2-0 to start the year. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On The Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Bryan Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley.
Brazos Life, the annual manual.
Welcome home, Brazos Valley.
Brazos Family.
Brazos Wellness.
Brazos Valley Bride.
Peace, Brazos Christian Life.
With the combined power of 7 magazine titles, 11 radio stations, and digital solutions, Bryan Broadcasting Publications can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
It is TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. We threw out the topic of the show, name a player that you were initially wrong about, and one of those for me was Speedy. I was definitely wrong about Speedy. I'm sure there's been plenty of NFL play. I thought Johnny was going to be a star in the NFL, and for whatever reason he was not. We know what reasons those were, but I still think if he had the opportunity to do it the right way, he would have been a star in the NFL. I'm a big believer in that. But it is now time for Billy to join the show here on TexAgs Radio. We go to the BCSI hotline. What's going on, Lucci?
Not much, Nuño. What are you doing?
A little thing called a radio show. Hey, so I got this topic out there, and I'd love to get your take on it.
Radio shows and topics.
You know it, bro.
Radio shows and
hey,
topics.
We're trying to fill 3 hours. Today.
With a topic.
Well, today the topic is the easy one. Name a player you were initially wrong about.
What is it? Initially wrong about favorite player. Name a player or favorite player?
No. Name a player that you were initially wrong about. Here's an example. People booed the Texans about J.J. Watt. All right? It could be positive or negative. Yeah. Somebody you thought was going to be amazing, that turned out not to be amazing, and maybe somebody you thought would be bad, and they turned out to be good.
Well, the amazing, not amazing is unfortunately a long list, and I think any program can put that one together. I think the harder ones to find, like we could go all day about guys that didn't live up to the ranking or the recruiting hype, but I think the other way around is harder to find. And a short list, it would be top. I think for me, man, I would say atop my really short list would be Landis Durham from a few years ago. If you would have told me that hey, Landis, when I watched him at Plano East, and when I saw him when he first got to A&M, and you see that he was he ended up getting up to around 260, but for most of his career was a really undersized defensive end in the SEC. He grew into it eventually, but if you'd have told me that guy was going to lead the SEC in sacks as a defensive end, I would have said I would have bet anything against that. I didn't. It was going to be hard enough for him to work his way into starting. I thought maybe he would be a stand-up linebacker. He ended up having a really nice career at A&M, understated his whole time. He's never flashy. Came in there right on the back end and followed up, Myles Garrett, the number 1 pick, and then Deshaun Hall, a third rounder. So really went, I think, underappreciated as well. But he's so high up on that list for me of just guys that I wouldn't have expected to do what they did. And then you've got, you go back to, I remember as A&M prepares to play Colorado this season, seeing Rich Cody for the first time as a walk-on, had to fill in for Dennis Allen in the Colorado game. And he ended up an all Big 12 defensive back. I mean, he was really good safety for A&M. Probably the best one, it probably goes Terrence Keel, him, up until a couple of years ago when A&M started recruiting lights out on defense. And even then, you sit there and make arguments, but Rich, Dat Wynn is certainly on the short list. But Dat was there's a little bit of a myth about that. See, to me, I would have thought that about that while he was redshirting. Like, man, I don't know if he's going to make it. He ended up being arguably the best linebacker ever to play at A&M. He's up there in the top 3 at worst, might be the best. You would have never thought that if you were out there watching A&M back in, 94, while he redshirted, or hearing the other guys who loved him, but you wouldn't have thought that you were hearing about Trent Driver and even Warwick Holdman in that same class. And if we're talking about all-time underrated that people don't talk about enough, Josh Reynolds is on that list. But the guy and Mike Evans is obviously, Mike Evans is number 1 if you're going off ranking. But to me, the guy that we don't talk about enough as being an all-time underrated was Dante Hall. People forget A&M flipped him from Missouri, and no one cared because A&M had just finished a season with Tiki Hardeman, Sir Parker, Eric Bernard, and Michael Jennings. But in particular, Tiki and Sir coming off that 96 season, and no one was really that worried about flipping a 3-star undervalued running back out of Aldi Nimitz from Missouri at the time that missed a bunch of games his senior year with an ankle injury. And if you go back and look at what Dante did, so anyway, there's a quick rundown. I'm sure I left out about 100 of them.
Luch, we got a lot of football to get into, but let's do a couple of non-football things off the top. First off, a big weekend by Schloss, and the camp happened, and people just saw the beauty in what he's building out here.
Golly, and I'm trying to keep up with what Bronny's putting out there, but several commits across several classes, all the way down, I believe, to 2024 class. He wasn't joking at the TexAgs kickoff party where he said he might be on the phone with a 23-year-old grad transfer on one call and then talking to an 8th grader on the next. I mean, they are wasting no time on the recruiting trail and the roster rebuild through the transfer portal. You look at the caliber of player they're getting in some of these guys and what they've accomplished already, not just at the college level, but at programs that in the last couple seasons have been superior to A&M. You're going off and get guys from winning programs, and that Stanford, Oregon State, Arizona State. You're going off and getting some of the best players off of these teams, Texas Tech. So through the portal and via transfer, but also recruiting, and you see, like you said, they're buying what the Aggie coaching staff's selling, and it starts at the top with Slosh. Bronny was saying what an organized camp, 2-day camp this was. Like, he was so impressed by just kind of how it played out, how it transpired out there, how smooth everything went. But then the aftermath, to pick up commitments at the rate that the Aggies are picking them up, again, 22, 23, 24 classes, it's pretty incredible. And they're not done. I mean, there's a couple big names that I could see A&M getting in the near future. And Bronny mentioned these guys. They are between Slosh, Nate Yeske, Early, Nolan Kane. I mean, these guys, they're big time on the resume, but when you sit down with them, meet them, get to know them, you realize they came here to win a championship. And the chemistry on that staff is tremendous. It's amazing for a group that you're getting guys from, 5 different places and bringing them all together. The chemistry is ridiculous. And I think that's what those players are picking up on. I think there's something special brewing across the tracks, Nuño. I really do. I think I want to taper it back and be like, look, it's year one. They're playing a long game here, but they're trying to get there as quickly as possible, clearly, by what they're doing in the portal. But man, I've never been more fired up about Aggie baseball in the relatively short term, and then especially in the long term. I think it's going to be a hell of a run.
All right, what about the violations that TexAgs reported on Friday after it came out from the NCAA for Buzz and company? Some of this was expected, right, Billy?
So, this wasn't a surprise to Buzz Williams or the basketball staff or really anybody at A&M. This, they date back a lot of ways. This is never something that just kind of pops up and surprise. I guess it could, but this is, look, I could go on all day about this. I think that stuff is so minor, and I think outside of the practice at the church, what they call organized, I guess that's a pretty ambiguous definition, and that's where it comes. Like if it was completely organized and they were, basically running practices, which I don't think was the case. That's one thing. I think it was as simple as an assistant coach finding a place for those guys to get together and play, and that ends up, constituting organization. It wasn't like Buzz was out there running practices, but still, during the pandemic, I've been saying all along the punishments were going to be, a little more ridiculous. But
and scene. Billy Liucci gone for a moment. We'll see if we get him back here on the BCSI hotline as he was talking about Buzz and company out there. Not sure what happened there. We'll see if we can get Billy to be back on the show here momentarily. Maybe he just whatnot. But we were prepared for that. Is that? No. And we lost Billy. So we'll try to get him here momentarily. But as we were prepared for that story, the rest of the guys here on TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. But right now, a moment for my friends at Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, and online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. They got amazing deals. You know that. I've been telling you that. Like, check out the website. You'll see what they have out there. But I would like for you to take this test. This is one of those that's an easy test. If you're close by, remember I've told you it's 15 minutes, from Bryan to Caldwell. Just go by and go observe. Go check out the customer service. Now, to me, that goes a long way. I would gladly make the drive to Caldwell to get the best possible. If you're trying to get rid of a vehicle, this is the time to do it. The inventory is so low that if you jump on it now, you're gonna make some money on it, right? And what about if you do that and you just hold off a little bit? Like, wait, hey, I'm gonna buy a car later. I'm gonna make money on this car. There are people who have bought cars for X amount of dollars and then sold it more. It's never, it's a depreciating asset. Right now, people are getting more money for it. We're going to give you a great opportunity, a great deal. It's just going to be wonderful to see out there. Go to Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, and online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com.
You're listening to Aggieland's home for sports. The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
First Financial is proud to be the title sponsor for the 2021 Chamber of Commerce Lobster Fest and Golf Classic, the Chamber's largest and most popular fundraiser of the year. Howdy, I'm Cal McNeil with First Financial, and come be a part of the two-day fundraising event. Enjoy lobster and steak dinner September 19th at the Bresda Center, and then tee off Monday, September 20th at Pebble Creek Country Club. Support your Chamber of Commerce and reserve a table. Call 260-5200 or log on to bcschamber.org for more information.
Howdy, this is Tim with Aggieland Green. My team and I want to say thank you for voting us Best of the Brazos Valley for lawn care. We're a local Aggie-owned company with a passion for creating green, thick, weed-free lawns. Our treatments combine years of practical experience with the latest lawn care technologies to bring your yard to its full potential. And at Aggieland Green, we're not happy unless you are, so our work is guaranteed. Get your free quote at aggielandgreen.com.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thanks to our listeners and our sponsors for backing the Aggies all season long. First Financial Bank, Bryan College Station Toyota, Rudy's Barbecue, Schulte Roofing, The Sleep Station, and Pioneer Steel. Here's a big gig 'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
Hey, Joe, I thought you were retired.
Living on a fixed income is tough. So here I am, an essential worker.
I know. I mean, food prices are going up every day. Thank goodness for benefitscheckup.org.
Benefits what?
Benefitscheckup.org. It's a free website where people over 60 can find help to pay for food, medicine, even utilities. I got $1,200 a year in benefits. Maybe it can help you.
This
is ESPN Radio. Joey Votto, we got that 2,000 hit tonight.
The more I play here, the more I realize how lucky I am.
Victor Cruz, Super Bowl champ, team-time WWE champion.
Hey guys, Alan Faneca, Hall of Fame class of 2021.
I've been waiting, let's do it.
Super Bowl champion Donald Driver.
I love the game. I watch the game more now than I did when I actually played.
Drew Bledsoe, Super Bowl champion.
Keyshawn, if I ever stopped yelling at you, then you would think I didn't care.
Terrence Bud Crawford, the WBO
legend and now Hall of Fame wide receiver Drew Pearson.
So now that I'm in Canton, I don't even think I used the airplane to get here.
Justin Herbert, Los Angeles Chargers quarterback.
A lot of fun last year, but a lot more room to grow.
Lane Kiffin joins us, Ole Miss head coach.
A big part of my motivation was he, because he sent me pictures when I'm on TV of how fat I am.
ESPN Radio, weeknights and weekends on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
When you find out the game's a little bit farther away, beginning of camp's a little bit farther away, now you start looking at, how much do I love this thing? And typical camp stuff, but they're banged, bruised body, been grinded, and like I say, now you start to find out who likes football and who can, play and push through those things. That's what camp is about. And
who likes football? Now, that may sound like something like they all like football, but there's a different kind of level of loving football when you get to this point of camp and you're just like, I am done. It's TexAgs Radio presented by Dave Gardner's Jewelry. Yes, I Hotline had Billy on there, but now he's here in the flesh, I should say, and we're going to be chatting things. We'll get to the A&B text line here in a moment. Billy, my friend, what have you done with your skin?
Well, I got coffee, and it's celery green cream.
Pardon?
Celery green cream, and it is, I saw it on Instagram. I follow Nastia Lukin. Do you know who that is?
No.
Olympic gymnast,
Okay.
gold medalist. Hawks a lot of great products.
Okay.
Advertises for them, like Magic Spoon cereal, which I've gotten.
Magic Spoon is the
you're on it too?
No, I haven't had it, but I've heard nothing but
I've
the
gotten
fitness
Kilser
community.
on it.
Yeah.
I've gotten Kilser on it. Magic Spoon, that was the first thing
It's a protein,
that I saw her
right?
talking about, and I was like, I'm going to try that. It's like protein cereal without sugar, but it tastes like Fruit Loops. My favorite is the peanut butter. You
Okay.
can't go wrong with peanut butter cereal, I don't think. Do that with a little almond milk, make yourself feel like you're being healthy before you go blow it the rest of the day. But then I saw this stuff, and I was like, I'm going to try this. A little weird ordering it. I went to Sephora and got it.
Yeah.
And then, I'm putting it on my face. But it moisturizes, Nuño.
Like,
it really does.
You remember when we were younger, Pearl Cream? It makes you look 10 years younger. There's a lady on TV. You don't know what I'm talking about.
I know this. I know it makes my face feel cooler. And I've got, like, if you look, there's like, which camera am I looking at? This one?
Yeah.
It's like just a little glow, just a little shine.
Can I have some?
My face don't seem to want to shine. Do you know what song that is?
No clue.
Push, Matchbox 20. Come on.
Ah, of course. The Matchbox thing. I can put my.
No, you're not putting your fingers in there.
What? Come on, let me.
Nope.
All right. This is the
There
most
you go.
male touching I've had today. All
Put
right.
that on. Smear it in.
Yeah.
Smell. It's got a little grease.
Okay.
It's like a cooling.
For those listening on radio, get to the YouTube. Oh, by the way, we're on YouTube today because we hit the 5,000 mark. So people are watching you for the first time. Just one show today.
Cheers. Put that on.
Okay.
Bask in the glow.
And
We're two glowing face dudes here. But again, my bigger recommendation though would be try that Magic Spoon.
Magic Spoon is great.
This is really good. Or buy this for your girlfriend, your wife, whatever.
All right. Well, I look like I just ran a mile.
I should be paid by cream.
I feel younger. I do. I feel so young. I could be a starting quarterback for Texas A&M. All right, that's my segue.
Pretty young, freshman or sophomore.
Pretty young. So let's talk about it. We had a scrimmage this past weekend. We're getting closer to announcing the quarterback. Mm-hmm. Where are we with things, Billy?
Jimbo's speaking to us the next. It could take that long to actually be announced, but I don't think they'll wait until game week. I think this week, and they're off today, maybe as early as tomorrow, you start seeing a dramatic shift in terms of the first team reps and stuff, and then we'll see what kind of comes out from within the program. But I do think they're really close. They just scrimmaged. There was somebody today that said there's nothing going on, and I said we've been talking about this, guys. Like I've felt throughout that I felt Haynes was the guy to beat coming in. He won the backup job last year. There's that dynamic of that dual threat ability there that is very, very real. very real. And I just felt like, Zach was going to have to really surpass him in order to win it. And by all accounts, they've both had a really good camp. I just have on the Haynes King front, and that's what my prediction would be still today. But I don't, Jimbo, they could decide it in the next couple of days in terms of moving forward the reps, or they could wait till later in the week. It might be we'll do a game week plus a couple of practices where the starters get most. But it's coming. It's coming. I've got to think in the next practice or two. Now, as far as an announcement goes, it might be a full week unless they put out like a press release type thing, which some schools you've seen do that. But to me, I don't understand that Jimbo. I don't feel like Jimbo is the type that really is that concerned with, hey, I got to make an announcement. Yeah. I think he's actually the opposite, and I think the longer the better for him. So unless he's getting it from, hey, we should do something, words getting out, from practices, but it might be another week before we hear it, game week. Again, I think the state champion from Longview will be out there first against Kent State. We'll see. That's what I think. And the good news is, again, I keep saying this, Calzada was here a year ago, David. I don't know how the battle for the starting job, I think, was a lot closer than the battle for the backup job was last year, and Haynes King was a true freshman. So what does that tell you about what Zach Calzada's done in a year?
Rising.
Yeah, he really is. And because in case you haven't noticed, they're the only two scholarship quarterbacks right now on campus, which is scary. But the good news is I think they've got a better situation than they've had since Jimbo's first year when he had Mon and a somewhat proven Starkle, at least with some experience. Right. He had some good stretches under his belt, a couple good games, but that was a nice combination to know that you had number one, but you trusted number two. The last 2 years, it's been a true freshman in Calzada and then King, so it's a little more dicey. Now it's two guys that have been in Jimbo's system, one for 3 years, one for 2 years.
So I'm going to do the segue game again. Whoever the quarterback is.
Wait, can I do a segue?
Sure.
I wanted to finish talking about basketball real quick before Burns comes on. So, to me, we got cut off. My phone died out there, and then next thing I knew, I was talking to Dalton. Those things were such minor violations, and 90% of them, you can tell me, not every team practiced off campus. It wasn't practice, it was an open gym. It was basically somebody found a gym to let them run through, and that was considered organizing. But you can say, but an analyst talking to kids about rebounding or every one of those violations it's the thing that if you know anything about college basketball coaches are looking at that and laughing and going, why the hell?
Right.
And they're going, thank God they didn't do that to me. And it's very similar, completely different type violations, but very similar to what happened with Jimbo in football. He had a bump, a setup at a school in Washington that other coaches were set up at by the head coach who wanted his linebacker to go to Washington. A bump, which is the most common thing amongst college coaches. And then you had 7 hours cumulative over an extended long period of time of them being told if you're not early, you're late kind of thing. That was it. They're getting punished for these things. And to me, relatively significant. You had a coach that was out all year last year, an assistant. Buzz is being suspended for 2 games, significant games in a tournament. And then on top of that, you look at Jimbo and the show cause that he had, and had it not been for the pandemic, that was kind of a ball don't lie type of thing. Right. The pandemic kept them from, there was no road to be on during recruiting. So this where they were not going to be able to go out and recruit on the road, and when Jimbo wasn't going to be able to make in-house visits during the early signing period until after the new year, that would have hurt. That didn't come to fruition because there were no in-house visits. But these were heavy-handed punishments. Nothing big, but certainly more than a wrist slap. I think it's complete crap, and it's embarrassing for the NCAA that Will Wade's still out there coaching and Bill Self. And that a lot of people have said that, but it's the honest truth. And the good news is it's not going to have a lingering effect on recruiting, just like it didn't in football. And the one thing I'll say about buzz in this team, this has been going on for 14 months. Then you had what happened with the pandemic and the team being kind of wiped out for a month in the middle of the season, and they took it on the chin last year. If you look at what left and what came in, I'm quietly really excited about Aggie basketball this season. I think Buzz is doing this right. In this new world, basketball players are transient since, you know this, AAU basketball, since they're 8 years old. They're transient in nature. They go from one team to the next. They get recruited to play on other teams. Now you've made it perfectly legal. The route to go is sign a few Dominique Kirk-type guys that when they get here, you know they're staying and they're going to grind it out until in year 3 you look up and they're a quality player. You want those guys, and then you want to go get the guys that are proven at the level you need them to be proven at, not the guys that are one and done and about to go to the NBA or about to use up their eligibility, but the young guys like the transfer from Wyoming, like the transfer from Virginia Tech, like the transfer from Duke. Now they don't have a free transfer anymore. If they transfer again, they have to sit out. But they're also young. They're also not one and dones going to the NBA. You look at this roster right now, how they were recruited, the level of talent, and you look at the one that was on the court and the one that left last year, it's no comparison. So I'm kind of excited that this is behind them and they can move on.
Let's do this. We got to get Peter Burns on here in the next segment. We still have to do 21 and 21. We'll try to do that in the last segment there, brought to you by Factory Builder Stores. We got to do that. But right now, I want to remind you guys to text radio to 900-900 for your chance to win the Big Friday giveaway, courtesy of our friends at Aggieland Outfitters. And this is a really nice one, guys. The Adidas sideline woven short sleeve, quarter-inch zip. I like it. I'm looking at it. It is it's really nice. It's something I'd actually wear. And I when it comes to Aggieland Outfitters, they are known for their quality. They're known for the type of material that they're going to purchase in and make sure that they give to their customers. This is 100% recycled polyester, also aero-ready technology, powered by that moisture. So you're there on the sidelines. You just don't want to wear a T-shirt. You don't want to sweat through and look like a slob out there. This is where one of these woven short-sleeve shirts comes through because it's ventilated back. They've got the perforated details, a zipper in the front, drop tail hem with side splits out there, heated seal, Texas A&M Lone Star logo there on the left side of the chest. It is a nice one, and it is valued at $69.99. Very wearable, it's trendy. It's what the kids are wearing. It's what the adults are wearing. It's kind of one of those you can wear in any situation. Go check it out at Aggieland Outfitters.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on The Zone. Stage Center Theater wraps up its season with Pure as the Driven Snow. Performances run through this weekend. Purchase tickets online at stagecenter.net. Hundreds of books geared to young readers will be on sale this Saturday at the Clara B. Mounts Library in downtown Bryan. Doors open to members of the Bryan College Station Friends of the Library at 9 a.m. and to the general public at 10 a.m. The Arts Council of Brazos Valley is hosting Celebrate the Arts on Wednesday, September 1st, starting at 6 p.m. at the Stella Hotel. Purchase your tickets online at acbv.org. Registration is now open for nonprofits wanting to participate in this year's Brazos Valley Gives event. Register at brazosvalleygives.org. Catch Cedric Golden of the Austin American Statesman Tuesdays at 12:05 on the Louis Bellina Show to talk Longhorns, Big 12, and so much more. The gang is back together lunchtime, weekdays from 11 to 2. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
When your diesel truck or construction equipment needs DEF, WPI has the best price in town. Only $8.50 for 2.5 gallons. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI can help. From custom hydraulic hoses, O-rings to teeth, buckets and blades. Any part, filter, fluid, battery, or lighting is at your local WPI. Visit Jesse James at WPI's new location in Bryan, Highway 21 east at Marina Road, or click WPI.com.
The Bellucci Hour is back. It is back at the tap every Monday and Thursday at 6 p.m. thanks to King Ranch Saddle Shop. Join Billy Liucci of TexAgs, TexAgs.com, TexAgs Radio, and the Lucci Cast, along with Zach Taylor, the Infomaniac, and Sports Director of Bryan Broadcasting. Monday, Thursday, 6 p.m. It's the Bellucci Hour, happy hour, and it's all thanks to King Ranch Saddle Shop. Let the Bellucci Hour get you ready for Aggie football 2021.
The flagship station for Aggie Athletics is The Zone. Whenever the Aggies are playing, you can hear them right here at 1150 and 93.7 FM. Thank you to all our listeners and our sponsors for backing the Aggies all year long. Cooper's Old Time Pit Barbecue, Swerdeman Flooring, Prosperity Bank, Hargrove Insurance, Park at Traditions Exceptional Senior Living, Cherry Rufino Broker Realtor with Coldwell Banker Apex Realtors, and Amarillo National Bank. Here's a big gig 'em to all these sponsors. Listen to Aggie Athletics on The Zone 1150 and 93.7 FM.
The best is yet to come in College Station.
Chase Lane is in for a touchdown! Yes!
Head coach Jimbo Fisher and the Aggies are ready to rise to the top of the SEC.
Swing to Anias, he's in the end zone, a 6-yard reception.
Join us Saturday, September 4th. It's the season opener versus the Kent State Golden Flashes on your home for Aggies football, the Texas A&M Sports Network.
Listen to Aggie football on 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. Online at radioaggieland.com. Or tell your smart speaker to play Zone 1150.
It is TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers here in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Lucci's in the house, and I don't think we've ever had these kind of three guys together at the same time, all who need to try Billy's celery cream, green cream, I should say. But Peter Burns joining us here on the program as he's picking up his kids, enjoying life on the BCSI hotline. This is brought to you by Blue Delta Jeans. PB, what's up, man?
Boys, let me tell you about, I had a game plan going into the first day of school. We had a whole off season. I had it planned. The clothes were out. We did a couple of drills. I was not ready for being punched in the face for the first day of school. You remember when Florida State played Alabama a couple of years ago and they were running their gums saying they were going to beat them. It was like the game of the year. Yeah. And then they got bumped. I was Florida State and my kids were Alabama this morning on the first day of school.
Well, at least you weren't us that day, because that was later that night. The next day, I returned home from UCLA and A&M at the Rose Bowl. So I was watching that Florida State game, and I was like, I wish we were Florida State right now.
I learned a very valuable lesson, in Lutz, on that one. What I decided at that point was I should never live tweet a game, because what I would do is every time the A&M would score early, I'd find a different GIF to pick of and about how many, and it was a pimp cane, and it was all of that. And by the end of it, I was
pimp cane.
Oh, I mean, how could you not? I was feeling it. I mean, someone had the boys rolling. It was, you're kicking the Pac-12's ass. Everybody felt great about it. And then, sure enough, Aggie football taught me, you could be left at the altar early in the season.
It was,
and hopefully Jimbo's changed that.
First of all, it was I do think he's changed it. We've noticed that, and we've had a 3-year window to see that. Now, to this year, we start to really, last year, this year, and the next year, I think this little window is when you really start to see how much is the change. Is that the change to get you over the top into that group? And we'll talk about that. But it was a band baton, like a strike up the band. Okay, now, I'll say this. This is why, Peter, I don't let people other than whoever's running the TexAgs account live tweet during games for that reason you just said, man. Maybe it'll be LSU this year. They're going into the Rose Bowl with a coach that needs to win this year to whatever level, and they're going in there. They're not selling alcohol. They're probably having to wear masks. The LSU fans are not going to be excited. Watch out, Bayou Bengals. Watch out. I've been there, done that.
Well, it's weird, boys, because now, this is, obviously week 0. But at UCLA and Chip Kelly, they're playing this week. They're playing against Hawaii. So they get their kind of run through, their practice run through against Hawaii this week, which is, adds a little bit of a different element.
Interesting.
Trust me. We go back and look. I'm sure, A&M or any fan base, any coach would like to have one game underneath their belt before they hop in against a big Power 5 opponent. So,
yeah.
That'll be my scouting right now of what's happening for week 0.
Hey, Burns, how excited are you for actual games to happen? Because, we both host morning shows, and to come up with content and topics, and who's the best tight end in the world, it's just getting so old, man, just getting ready for these games to start.
Well, and here's the deal. Like, I've got it on both sides, right? Because, you know, like for radio, we can do 3 hours of radio on nonsense. Like Lucci knows, you guys have been a part of our radio shows before. Like, I mean, we just have some fun. But like for television, we got to be a little bit more buttoned up on SEC Network. And I had a producer get in touch with me today, and he's like, "Hey, for today's show, we're going to talk about first-year expectations for these first-year head coaches." And I told him, "Hell no, we will." Like, I've already talked about this ad nauseum 32 shows in a row. Like, you know, and it's tough because, you know, while I get sick and tired of it, I realized last year we didn't get a chance to do all this, right? So while I get, you know, sick of it, like not having media days sucked last year, right? Like not being able to talk about these storylines. And that's the beauty of like what you guys do over at TexAgs Radio is that you can dive deeper down into these storylines. For me, for SEC Network, I've got a 30-minute show tonight, and I got to try to work in 14 different, you know, teams. And so you really can't start talking about, all right, what's the backup quarterback situation going to look like, or what's the defensive line, you know, and how are they going to rotate them? Like, I can't get too far into the weeds. So it's, this week is tough because the only time your team is in the headlines is if a bunch of bad stuff has happened, not good stuff yet.
Yeah.
Hey, Burns, so we think we should hear Haynes or Zach Calzada as the starting quarterback if in the next week potentially. Just as you've been tracking things there from the network, just your thoughts on how this quarterback situation could play out.
Well, you know, you guys are boots on the ground more so than we are, and when I talk to McElroy and Colt Kubelik and all of our guys here, you know, really it's a matter of like, you know, either way you can get to the same destination, right? It's almost more about what A&M's defense with Elko was going to be able to do, at least early off the bat. And I think they want to look at it, too, on how you're able to run the ball. Like, I know we've gotten punch drunk on this Big 12-style football in 2019 and 2020, but I almost feel like we regress a little bit back towards the mean this year because there are a bunch of things, these different quarterback not controversies, but, you know, there's not a lot of whole experience at a lot of these places. We brought 3 SEC coaches or SEC quarterbacks to media days. I mean, that just shows you that I think it's more defensive-minded, running attack-minded, not like 2003 or anything, but I think it's a little bit not going to be as pass-happy as we've seen the last 2 seasons at least.
It's interesting you say that, Peter, because if that's the case, that would really seem to play into A&M's hands for a couple of reasons.
Right.
If you've looked at them the last couple of seasons, the teams that have given them the most problems have been the Alabamas, the Clemsons, and I don't mean the greatest teams, the LSU and 29, but the teams that could really attack you down the field relentlessly and with big play receivers and outstanding quarterbacks. So that's where a guy like Matt Corral you look at and you kind of circle that game this year as a test. But as the Aggies continue to get better in the secondary, one thing they have done from day one under Elko and really peaked at this last year and were one of the couple of best in the country is they stop the run, they run the football, they impose their will with that running game. If what you're saying is true, and it makes perfect sense, you can kind of file that one away and say yet another reason to kind of really look out for A&M this year. And it goes back to, I think, that O-line. Burns, I had a question for you that I keep looking at the league, and I'm trying to figure this out. And I don't think Ole Miss is an answer here because I think everyone is so enamored with Lane and that offense and Corral slinging it around. Outside of the Rebels, who I think a lot of people are kind of picking to, I don't think be a conference contender, but have that breakthrough second season. Is there a team in the league that you think people are sleeping on? What team do you think is going to be better than either the national or even the people within the SEC network even expect this season?
Well, I mean, let's start with 2 of them. One, I think Kentucky, right? I think Kentucky right off the bat. I think Will Levis, I mean, yeah, everybody sees the banana, you know, him eating the banana video and him going viral and that stuff. The thing is, the guy's got a live arm, right? And they got Liam Combs, the brand new offensive coordinator, who wants to throw the ball a bunch more. So it's not going to be air raid, but they at least have an offense and a quarterback that has some playmakers around him, with Chris Rodriguez being able to run the ball and Wan'Dale Robinson, the kid that was awesome at Nebraska before he transferred. So I don't think people give enough love right now to what Kentucky can do, because I think, frankly, Kentucky could be, and frankly, I think they are the second best team in the SEC East. I think they're going to be better than Florida. I think Emory Jones can be fun to watch, but I think that when it comes down to it, top to bottom, Mark Stoops has built a better team than what Dan Mullen has, at least for this year. And this will sound stupid and homer, but that's who I am. I'm not necessarily very smart in that aspect. But coming on with you guys, I can't believe we're in a season that A&M is ranked preseason number 6 and are getting zero talk about for the college football playoff for the international title. Like, it's shocking to me. Like, it feels like any year we're talking about a top 10 Aggie team, you're like, all right, can this be the year? And I don't know if that's because of the snake-bitten start they used to have, but again, going back to it, I think the last 2 years was a race to 50 points every single game. I think this year takes a step back, and I think that fits exactly what Jimbo has built this team for coming in 2021.
You know what, Peter? That's great. And I want to ask you about something that just popped up here. But first, I think you're bringing up a great point, because I think it has everything to do with if Kellen Mond were returning, and he wasn't an All-American, but a third-round draft pick and a record-setting 4-year starter at A&M. But if you had a returning quarterback to go with the finish last year, the defense, Jimbo, and what it's building towards, I think the conversation would be totally different. So that's where I go back to. If Jimbo said it more than once, he said, I won a national title with a redshirt freshman quarterback. And I know it was Jameis Winston, but Haynes King was a really highly regarded recruit as well. And we didn't know anything about Jameis to that level until we watched him. I remember sitting at Copy Bridge and watching him shred Pitt, I think, in his first game and going, who the hell is this guy? So maybe people will be doing the same thing about Haynes King a couple weeks into the season, or Zach Calzada, either one of them. But he's done it before. There is a blueprint for him, as wild as it seems.
Hey, a picture of yours popped up. I'm sorry, PB.
Oh, God. I don't even know.
Yeah, it's on your Instagram. It looks.
Oh, he loves it. Come on.
1998.
He's looking like Sugar Ray over here.
Are y'all putting my Sugar Ray thing on there?
Yes.
I mean, how good is that?
It's great.
The soul patch goatee, the frosted tip sun in, the puka shell necklace, the pleated pants, the braided belt. Like,
what a party!
Again, man. Like I look like Matthew Lillard from the Scream movie.
Yeah, you do.
Like that.
God,
right?
you do look like Lillard. Hey, I mean, listen. You know I appreciate that picture for several reasons. The goatee, the co-eds down there. It was at San Antonio.
Yeah, it was UTSA.
Yeah,
right
the
there.
You're just the golfer that doesn't have a care in the damn world, doesn't know the fame and fortune that lies ahead of him, just living in the moment. I mean, I love it, Burns. I love it. The only thing you need are some Blue Delta jeans and some celery green cream, which I'm not sponsored by, but I think I want to be. This stuff's amazing. It kind of looks like you're wearing it right there. You've got that glow to you.
You do. It is the glow. Little did I know at one point in my life I would be sitting in a parking lot waiting to pick up my kids and talking to fans of College Station. Right? Like, who knew? The only thing I'm missing up is those workout regimen. Had I had the biceps back then, it would have been game over. It would have been absolute game over.
Listen, remember when we used to wear those undershirts under the polos, the T-shirt underneath? I've got a picture for Dalton. Maybe I'll have him come out within the next segment. It's me and some Z Cavaricis that I found this weekend.
Oh, Jabot jeans?
Oh, man.
Those were legit as well, too? Like, what do you know about Jabot? Like, you Z Cavaricis with the 95 belt loops? I'm all about that life.
Hey, next week, Burns, we're going to ask you about we got some text messages for you, but some eating spots in Denver for when we make that trip, but we'll wait for that till next time, man. Thanks so much for joining us.
Boys, y'all sounding great. I miss your musk, and congratulations on the $4,000 bet, Lucci. I hope it pays off for you.
Like I said, dinner for the entire network crew when you guys come in at Republic.
Credit card roulette, baby. That's the only way to do it. See you, boys.
Later, brother. Peter
Thanks,
Burns.
Brady.
Thanks to Blue Delta Jeans there for that. All right, we still got to do 21 and 21. We've got number 5, Jalen Watermeyer, when we come back. Nice. Right now, though, talk about our friends there at Milliken Reserve. Jack and Chad have done such a great job making this community, farm-to-table community there in College Station. We got homes, trails, farms, and wide open spaces. Their mission is to build a healthy community around nature. I went there and I was just amazed by how beautiful it is. It is just huge. You got 2,600 acres of open space, farm, 30 miles of trails and homes. They are just an incredible place. Extensive network of trails throughout the wooded landscape. Unheralded places for families to cherish for generations. You've got the conservation there. They're committed to maintaining and restoring that natural habitat, and they provide a natural setting for people to connect for biking, hiking, canoeing, kayaking, equestrian. They got evening yoga. My wife went last week, had a great time out there. Join the community-supported agriculture CSA and receive freshly grown, local, harvested seasonal products there. Learn more at millikenreserve.com.
Listen in to the Louis Bellina Show, weekdays from 11 to 2 here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
Let's go to Double Dave's, Double Dave. We've got the pizza with that fresh made taste to put a smile on your face. Let's go to Double Dave's, Double Dave. When you need a break, they got the right food, and it's a really great place.
Your choices have expanded at Double Dave's, including the choice to eat in their dining room. You can also choose daily lunch specials like pepperoni rolls for $1.50, a $4 garden salad, and your choice of sandwiches, medium stromboli, or small 2-topping pizza for just $6.
Let's go to Double Dave's, Double Dave. They'll keep you hopping for the pizza with the toppings that can't be beat. Let's go to Double Dave's, Double Dave. They got your pizza if you're up in the morning or you're staying up late.
Specialty pizzas are $8. Add a drink for $1 or get a medium pizza of the month for just $10. Click doubledaves.com to order carry-out, curbside pickup, or delivery, including contactless delivery.
Let's go to Double Dave's, Double Dave. They've got the pizza with that fresh made taste to put a smile on your face.
Does your bank know your first name? At Normandy State Bank, they do. Normandy State Bank is locally owned, controlled, and operated. This local personal touch means banking decisions are made on site the same day you request it. Normandy State makes banking easy. They're open Saturdays, offer state-of-the-art online banking, bill paying, fund transfers, check and statement images. Normandy State, where customer service is their priority. Normandy State Bank, rock solid. Member FDIC.
Our publications reach every corner of the Brazos Valley, and we want to partner with you in sharing your message with the community. You may recognize a few of our Bryan Broadcasting publications.
Best of the Brazos Valley.
Brazos Life, the annual manual.
Welcome home, Brazos Valley.
Brazos Family. Brazos Wellness.
Brazos Valley Bride.
Peace, Brazos Christian Life.
With the combined power of 7 magazine titles, 11 radio stations, and digital solutions, Bryan Broadcasting Publications can help you be heard. Call 979-695-9595 to learn more.
I can do this.
We believe in you.
Each day brings hope.
Every day, millions of people celebrate their recovery from addiction and mental illness while others begin their journey. Be a part of it. Share your strength, support, and hope. Join the Voices for Recovery. Together, we are stronger. For 24-hour free and confidential information and treatment referral for mental and substance use disorders for you or someone you know, call 1-800-662-HELP. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Hey y'all, this is Marty Smith.
And I'm Ryan McGee. And we are
Marty and McGee. Check us out every Saturday morning on ESPN Radio and the SEC Network.
Of course, we'll be all over the biggest news in the world of sports.
And plenty of that Marty and McGee type stuff.
Like the Hillbilly Headlines.
And some of the craziest callers you've ever heard in your life.
It might be the only reason to wake up that early on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, for sure. It's Marty and McGee. Join us Saturday mornings on Aggieland's Home for Sports.
The Zone, 1150 AM and 93.7 FM.
All right, it's time to end the day with Double Dave's. Caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a medium pizza or half dozen pepperoni rolls from Double Dave's, serving Aggieland since 1984. You can order online at doubledaves.com for curbside pickup or free delivery. That is doubledaves.com. We've got so much to get into here in just a few minutes of the show left. It is time for our 21 and 21 presented by Factory Builder Stores. Number 5, Jalen Watermeyer. In our closing few moments, Billy, just how can a guy be one of the top 2-3 tight ends in all of college football and still be underrated by many?
I mean, I think the SEC knows about the guy, you know, and teams. Look, there he is making, I mean, just an absolutely absurd catch. I think you can see me in that picture there. That's against Bama. His freshman year, we hit the ground running. But look, Jalen, if he can get a little better as a blocker, he is such a matchup nightmare. He's not the most physical guy for a guy his size, But it doesn't matter even when he's not getting separation, because he's so hard to cover and keep from catching the football. He does such a great job of getting his arms out in front of him and keep turning up the field and getting that big body moving. And it's such a great chain mover. There he is right there. I mean, that's good coverage. Now some of these throws, I think people don't appreciate Kellen Mond and the timing of hitting these guys coming out of their breaks, and he did such a great job of that with Jalen. But Weidemeyer he's the best tight end in the SEC. I think he's prototypical NFL, which is exactly how Jimbo likes it. You see him there. I talked to a scout this week that felt like there wasn't a better red zone receiving threat in college football this year than number 85. And they think that's where in the NFL too. He reminds me at times of like a Robert Gates.
Yeah, him too.
Not Secretary of Defense, former A&M President Robert Gates, but he reminds me of Antonio Gates. Even though his basketball background was only in high school and not in college.
Right.
The size, the way he catches the football. Tim Brewster actually made that comparison to me a long time ago, back when the Aggies had signed Weidemeyer, and it's kind of stuck with me, and I certainly see that. You look at him this year, he's closing in on 1,000 yards in 2 years. I think he's poised for a big season and to be one of the first couple of tight ends drafted.
It is 21 and 21, presented by Factory Builder Stores. They have 7 showrooms across 6 cities across Texas: Austin, College Station, Corpus Christi, Dallas. Houston's got a couple of them, and San Antonio. They're very knowledgeable, helpful, and personable. Tori Esprovoa, we've got time for 44 seconds of greatness. What do you got for us?
Okay, well, I have a question for Luch. It says each interview that you, Jason, or Bronny does with the recruit talks about how A&M feels like home. What specific things have Jimbo and the staff have done to create that culture?
It's a long answer there. Do we have another question? It's a good question. It's a long.
Yeah,
first of all, it's Jim. I'll tell you this first. It's Jimbo's personality, and when whether it's a recruiter or their parents, you sit down with them, it feels like home because you feel like you're comfortable and can be yourself. That's a huge starting off point, and I also think that has kind of trickled down. And that's why I always thought Jimbo was such a great match for A&M, in much the way that R.C. Slocum was. They fit. This place, I think, feels like home. You can attest to that, Tori, and so can I, and David, and most people in here. So when you have the school that feels like that compared to others, and you have a coach that kind of presents that same vibe, I think that combination is what really stands out.
Yeah, perfect answer. There you go.
There you go. Tori, thank you very much. Billy, thank you for what is it called? Green what? Green
Celery
cream?
Green cream.
Yeah. And we learned how to put it on correctly.
Volition.
Apparently, I put it on like a slob, according to Tori. Like, you're not supposed to go down.
You're trying
up.
to pull your face down so you look like that guy from Scream. Burns brought up Scream, but you look like The Mask is what she's saying will happen.
Rocky Dennis?
Not Mask, the movie with Cher. Mask, like you put the guy in the Scream mask where the face is like melting.
I got that. I was just trying to be funny. Thanks, Billy. All right, it is TexAgs Radio. Thanks
Cher.
so much.
And she got greater after that.